Recording in progress.
What's up, dude?
What's up,
Ugh,
home slice?
not too much.
Holy
Home.
shit, what are you on the moon or what?
How did you know? Yeah, no, I've established an early outpost.
What?
Uh,
I knew you
yeah.
knew people, motherfucker. I knew it.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, like, I do regret it a little. It's pretty cold up here. The facilities aren't great. There's a lot of plumbing issues. And I'm going to tell you this, it's as hard, if not
Bro,
harder.
that cheetah's gonna get you though.
It's as hard,
Oh,
if not harder, to get a plumber here on the moon as it is back there on Earth. So
they don't got no ain't got no plumbers on the moon, do they?
the problem is that they're also they're like multi-functional folks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Like
taking a Swiss Army
otherworldly
knife.
beings that plumb?
They plumb certain depths within each of us, but it gets a
Yeah, that's what
little.
she said.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying what she
I'll
said.
I'll plumb your depths
How you been, man?
as far as my thumb can go.
Well, thank God it's not worse than that. I think I can handle a thumb. Uh, so what have you been up to, man?
Not much. I'm trying to figure out where the hell you are right now.
Um, I'm at an undisclosed location. So
Bro, what's with the giant ass projection TV in the background? The fuck is going on right now? You got tin roof, glass walls. The fuck is happening right now? I'm so confused. You on
yeah,
the space station, motherfucker? You get bro's in a Tesla house right now. God damn.
Tesla house. It's only a
Bro,
matter of
straight up.
time.
Yo, Elon, I know you're there, motherfucker.
Hello, Clinton. Nice to see
Elon,
you.
you sound a lot more autistic in person. Jesus Christ.
I understand. I don't know. I don't know how he sounds, but he always has like
I
this
don't
like
really either, to be
and
honest.
he'll like do this like because he probably saw in some book that
I
that's
don't
the
know
way
if
he
he
like
does that, but
he
that
does.
would make
But
sense.
then he sits there also and he'll like do this. Yes. Ah. Yeah. He's an interesting fella. But that being said, what have you been up to, man?
Fucking nothing. Not a not a goddamn thing. What have you
That
been
doesn't
doing?
that doesn't seem like the case. I think
Living in undisclosed locations on the space station of the Tesla house.
Jesus
The
Christ.
fucking he's on the USS Musk. Fucking
Actually, that's a good one. I like that. No, but I was gonna ask. Like, I was thinking, like, you wanted to talk aliens, but you know what occurred to me,
what?
when I sent that link, and I was like, wouldn't it be fun to talk aliens with?
Oh no.
I want to get his hot take. He'll be like, man, I don't know about them aliens, but
Fucking
the thing
aliens
is
are
that, like, this girl at the bar, I met her already 3 times. And then I met her another time, and she said something about aliens. Yeah, but what do you think about aliens? What would he say?
Oh shit. Okay. My turn. Okay.
What? But yeah,
Um,
I know. Like that's cool. Like the chick at the bar. That's wow. That's interesting. But like, what do you think about the whole thing and blah blah blah?
you know, there's gotta be out there. There's aliens. Like I don't really believe in that shit, but all the stuff, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Seriously,
I could see him throwing out a curveball though, where he's like, "Hey man, that's not in the Bible." And be like, Billy,
Bill,
what?
I wanted to go that route with it, but that's that's all bullshit. That shit doesn't even that it's bullshit. It's not real.
And also, Jesus was not a Jew. Okay. Yeah. What?
Jesus wasn't even white. He's an Israeli. He's from Israel.
No, but you just said he was not a Jew, Billy. What the hell?
He was Israeli, so he wasn't a Jew.
Oh, you're
I
saying that
know
he
that.
was.
I know that because his skin color way different.
Yep, yep, yep. But anyway, aliens, man. What's No, but actually, seriously, now so I was still talking to Billy, but now I'm talking to you. Um,
Yeah.
should we try to call Billy?
Um, I drank last night a lot, and then I wasn't gonna drink today, and then you called, and then you said you wanted to talk, so that means I need to drink faster.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, remember my technique. If you're gonna drink, drink grocery store beers.
No, I'm drinking uh the twisted kind.
All right, yeah, but I'm just saying, like 3.2s are where it's at, man.
Yeah, if you want to fucking get a giant stomach,
Nope, nope.
you got to drink way more, man.
You got to drink more, but it's also like the American beer is so freaking light. Like
Why are you in such a mysterious place right now? Are you at like vacationing right now? What is going on?
no, no, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. Just looks pretty normal to me. It's
There's nothing normal about it with glass walls, a tin roof, and a giant like like um. Are you in like a Best Buy and it just is playing random shit on the TV? Like I don't. What is
I'm at a Best Buy
like
in Alabama. That's
Bro's at the Best Buy in fucking Sweden? He's in the Swedish Best Buy.
I mean, in some sense, yeah.
I'm from Sweden.
Yeah, dude.
We are
Yep.
Swedish. You're Swedish now, bro. You're
I actually
Swede.
am you know what's funny? I'm a Swedish citizen now,
Hmm.
but for now this is for understandable reasons they're cracking down on it. With
Yeah.
the integrate because we they didn't do a very good job of integrating a bunch of people that they just let in over the last like less than 10
Yeah.
years.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny how that seems to repeat itself in like every single country in the
And
Western
how
world
it
right now.
seems to cause issues later down the line. Hopefully they've
Yeah,
at
and
least
also
it didn't.
issues that any rational person could have brought up from the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like
why would they when they're lining their pockets?
yeah, but it's also deeper and weirder than that, I think. But in
Oh
any case,
fuck
because
yeah,
there's
it
also
is.
this psychology I've noticed, like Europeans broadly, okay, we can call them Caucasians, white people, indigenous Europeans seem to have a little bit of like a, and I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've seen some interesting top discussions kind of like around this, but not specifically this topic as such.
Yeah.
But um, there is like this thing like in the Western European mind that is slightly suicidal. It's like a
What do you mean?
suicidal. It's almost like a suicidal empathy where you're like, I don't really matter. Like in other words, like the white liberal mindset is white people are bad and evil, and like colonialism was like the most horrible thing ever, and like white people have just stolen everything from everybody, and we're the ones who've been enslaving people and all this. Like that's like the most mainstream like woke, like
Yeah.
if you go to like the hardcore progressive mindset, it's basically that. And most of the
Yeah.
people that believe that are white people. And then you're like, oh my God, like white people are the only people you see that literally hate themselves for being what they are. Like you never see that from any other group. Like literally, like
Right.
you go to China and it's full of Chinese people and they're like, yeah, we don't want fucking, foreigners here. We don't. They don't sound like that. Hang dong dong. Whatever they sound like. Uh, I was not in a Chinese, but I'm saying like they're
Oh.
I'm just saying that like the Chinese people they don't think of it as racist to
Sounds
be
like
like,
China's got a bunch of Arabs over there.
well, what?
Your voice that you did for the Chinese initially said you had a bunch of fucking Iranians over there or something.
I know, dude. I didn't up like I wasn't. That wasn't the point, so I didn't even switch into a
You know,
Chinese bit.
and
But
so
the point
I
was,
had to,
the
yeah,
point I'm saying is like, do you see any other group? And again, like the sad thing is that I'm probably not even gonna ever post this because it sounds so fucking radical to people, and that's cowardly. But like the thing is, like I asked Shpressa this. I was like, what percentage of the global population do you think white people make up? And she was like, "Oh, I guess it's probably really low. That's what the only reason you would be asking that." And she was like, "I don't know, maybe like 20%, 25%." And I was like, "No, it's like 8%." Like on planet Earth, white European descended people are like a tiny minority. Like I'm talking, I mean, the only minority that you can think of that's influential that is more tiny is like Ashkenazi Jewish people. That's a tiny, tiny minority, and they have an outsized influence. White European people are a tiny minority, but we're constantly propagandized with this idea that like we are the majority and everybody else is a minority, and so we have to like defer and basically be like self-sacrificing and blah 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 blah. Like this is where the identity politics has led. Like I don't like talking like this. I don't think it's very helpful. I miss being able to not have to talk about identity politics. But since the left has basically made identity politics like a very important thing, you basically can't escape from it. So if we're gonna be
no,
constantly confronted with like people of color, minorities, black people, like all this stuff like identity groups, then we have to have the conversation about white European identity. Unfortunately, and it's like, well, all right. The reality is that Europe is behind most of
Joe,
the
the tiger.
technological
Oh
advancement
shit, there's a leopard.
of the last like whatever several hundred years. Uh, Colonialism is not all bad. Every human society on Earth has been colonialist to some degree. Like the Arabs have been some of the most major colonialists of the last several thousand years. It's just a normal human thing, but apparently it's really really bad when white people do it. White people are also, European societies are some of the only societies that have ever actually fully outlawed and banned slavery. It's still going on in the Middle East today. It's still going on in
Yeah,
Africa today. It's
yeah.
basically still going
There.
on in Asia today. So it's like basically Europe is actually everything that Europe is everything, and I'm saying I'm including America here. Europe and America are basically the opposite of everybody else, but they're the ones who are demonized the most. And it's coming from European, like, it's coming from European intelligentsia. It's coming from the academies. It's coming from the educational institutions. So it's a suicidal impulse, or it's something worse, and it's like the enemy from within, which is what a lot of people think. Like they get conspiratorial about Jews, and
Yeah.
that's why they start thinking, oh, the Jews are behind it. Okay, fuck that. I don't even want to get into that because I don't know, and I think that's ridiculous. Like, I think it's the same impulse that basically makes people demonize white people, which is like, okay, when you see a very successful minority, because on a world scale, white people are a minority. When you see a successful minority, you ascribe bad things to them because you're like, they couldn't possibly have done this out of merit or because they earned it or because, whatever, like they're culturally sophisticated. I mean, like, I'm less interested in being mad at Jews and being more like, wow, that's an interesting, like, you can be that much of a minority and still be outrepresented in all these major fields. It must mean you're doing something right. Like, instead of seeing it as like a thing to be resentful for, see it as something that's interesting, right? But yeah, dude. So I'm just basically like, I feel like we have to get over this like suicidal empathy thing, and it's particularly coming from like white liberal women, and
Oh God,
that
no,
exposes the
you're
whole.
not. Yeah, it's really. I don't know. I don't know what to say on the matter, but I mean, I see it what you're talking about all day, every day. So it's just like,
Exactly, we all see it. We all see it, and unfortunately,
well,
like
no,
when you
obviously, no, we all don't see it.
well,
There the there's a lot that refuse to see it because they're too they're just fucking brainwashed. Like everything they see, everything they hear has become like some sort of fucking um like they believe everything they see and hear. I mean, is what it boils down to. And like you've got all
particularly
these,
from certain sources.
well, right, and it's always like Hollywood and these iconic figures, and because people worship these people and people do all this shit and listen, and it's like, oh, well, he said this, or oh, she does that, or oh, they said this, and it's like, well, I agree, even though they don't, but they're like, I remember when I was younger, I was real young, and I'm not super young. I was in like fifth, sixth grade, and I got into I got into like some weird shit with like I was like really into like Rob Zombie for some reason, and I kind of grew out of it, and I it kind of just like it was
I
like a
also had a
snap of the
Rob
thing.
Zombie phase, but
It
we
was
didn't
like
know
a
each
snap
other
of
at
the
that time.
fingers for me, but I was like getting like real into like like satanic types and just weird shit,
Yeah.
and then I just snapped out of it one day, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like that is weird." And like I think back on it, and I'm just like, "Wow, that was weird." I'm glad I didn't, keep going down that road and get like more into it and get more influenced and brainwashed by somebody who I didn't
Yes.
necessarily idolize or worship. But a lot of these people, they grow up from a young age and they see somebody they really like, and for whatever reason, and they just anything they do or say, they're just like, oh yeah. And so it's like that to me, every time I think about it is like a for me, I can't really explain it, but it was like my own personal example to remember that like you need to, think for yourself and be your own person and not just follow, somebody who you think is fit. And not to say that some people haven't had good influences and stuff, and they've been more successful than me or whatever, and they've gone to, illustrious careers. But like there are a majority of people who just follow these and idolize these famous people for no reason whatsoever, just because they like them, and they get so involved, and it's like, oh, okay, so then they just get brainwashed, and it's like, oh, they said this or oh, they did that, and that's kind of how it is growing, or how it, and it's probably worse now than it used to be, just because like there's so much more media out there and so many more things to rot your brain and manipulate you and brainwash you and everything you're watching and seeing. Like not to say that it wasn't that way when we were younger, but we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have social media, we didn't have Instagram. By the time that started coming, to fruition, we were already fucking um old enough to realize and be our own person, you know.
We were mostly fully baked at that point. And
Yeah.
I don't mean that as like
No, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, we, yeah, there were things that, that,
but let me interject on this because this is an interesting point about like the
mhm,
media landscape. In our
right.
day, it was like people would come to school and basically if you were paying attention at all, or you got that sense even if you weren't paying attention, like people that sort of their families leaned more conservative would be basically quoting something they saw on Fox News.
Yeah,
And then
very
people
much
whose
so.
families were liberal would be basically giving the other side of that, like the CNN sort of mainstream, like that, because that was
Yeah,
mainstream and Fox News was kind of like sort of fringy at that time in a weird way,
right.
at least by, I don't know, the standards of the time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, in a sense, like, is that harder to break out of, like, than this thing where you have, like, this broken mirror of tons of fragmented sources? Like, obviously, people, like, the potential for brainwashing is higher because there's more shards and fragments out there of
Hmm.
people. There's more noise. But on the other
Right.
hand, is it more dangerous actually mentally for people to be locked into this thing of like where you're so gatekept that you basically like the Overton window is totally determined by these major news media things. Like we were all getting pumped with like the same
Yeah.
stream. And it's
Well, I
like with
think,
the internet, maybe it actually, even though it has some negative consequences, maybe it frees up thought to a thing to an
well,
extent that was needed, you know?
I think you could, I think I have to, before I end up forgetting it, and I'll probably forget it when I say it here. I think that, um, what you're I get what you're talking about, and I don't disagree. I think it's more or less like you could probably split it down the middle and say it's 50-50 because yeah, okay, you're being gate kept by your parents and all these other, peers in your life. And it's like, okay, but also, and that's probably more of a, you know, uh, that probably affects you more than some news media thing, right? Even though they're getting that, that's where your parents are getting it from, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I grew up conservative for the most part, and I don't necessarily agree with everything on that side. I definitely lean more conservative, but I'm not like full hard on crazy. But I think, and then you have the other side of things where, like you were describing, like all these shards, all these different fragments coming in and out, and yada yada yada. And I think it can be equally as dangerous, just because there's so much more information, and nobody is nobody's willing to take the time to seek out the truth. Like some people do it, and some people are, but there's people out there who may seek the truth, but they're going to go to a website or they're going to go somewhere where it's
Okay. So
biased
let's
on one
I
end.
hear you. Let's identify two
Yep.
different streams then. One is
Okay.
like there's the priority of truth, and then there's the priority of critical thinking. Okay, so now let's think about this for a second. My argument, I guess,
Also, let me quick before you go. Critical thinking has become extremely, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a thing anymore.
right, right. But
Like
what I'm saying is that
not necessarily for you and I, but for these younger generations, like
well, yeah, but
they're critical. And
I have to be more optimistic than that. I don't believe that it's
well,
really
no, well, my point is that um I don't mean that it's not a thing anymore, but I feel like there are a lot less people out there nowadays who have the critical thinking skills than you or I,
so
or
so I
people who
agree with that. I
grew up
agree with
before
that,
them.
but I totally agree with that. But
Because there's
let's
always going to
think.
be people that come along. Like I'm not a smart dude by any means, but I think I'm very well aware of myself and what I believe and what I choose to believe, whether or not um how am I want to phrase it? Like I'm not willing to only accept what I believe. Like I'm willing to look outside the box and be like, okay, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but this is
And
the
but
opposite. No, but this is
if
the
I'm gonna
opposite
do
of
that, I'm
the
gonna use
Dunning.
critical thinking skills. What now?
This is the opposite of the Dunning-Kruger thing that most people cite, which is that like actually intelligent people are humble enough to realize that they're kind of dumb because you can never fully absorb every perspective and totally get things. And what you underestimate is that that itself is the thing that is very hard for people to overcome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that by itself determines a lot of intelligence. Simply being able to do that. And then that makes you think like, well, what then is intelligence? Like, is
Yeah.
intelligence correlated to humility? Like, if you become more humble in some sense intellectually, can that make you smarter? You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
you kind of have to be that way to learn new shit. Otherwise, you have a tendency to get locked into like one
right.
frame of
Yep.
reference.
Yep.
And then when you get locked into one frame of reference, it's like a spiral. So you become dumber. So it's almost like are you locked into that spiral because you're dumb, or are you becoming dumber because you're locked into that spiral? And I think it's like a feedback loop. You know what I mean? So there has to be a
Yep.
high correlation between like humility about knowledge and intelligence. So you actually are an intelligent person.
Well,
Um,
I didn't. I was being humble. Like I don't think I'm stupid by any means, but I'm there's when I guess my what I was measuring intelligence, because I mean, right, if you're talking about like, well, what is intelligence? Well, I mean, there's different types of intelligence, just like there's different types of love in the world, right? Like you don't love your son or daughter the same as you love your
Right,
girlfriend or
right,
your parents, or
exactly.
and all
Yes,
that
yes.
goes together. So then you have different intelligence for like somebody who can be really emotional intelligent, who is very good at, handling situations and not getting bothered and being successful or doing this and doing that. Then you got people who are really book smart. You've got people who are really street smart, and it just is like you meet them and they seem like the dumbest person in the world, but like for instance, right? Like I feel like he's probably fairly that dude's got some street smarts probably to an
But
extent.
also, I actually think like when I talk to somehow it's because all of these things bleed over
I
into
think
general intelligence. You see what I mean?
yeah.
So that's why I always liked this thing when they say like, because we're looking at this as like all these pools of intelligence, right? That combine into what we call intelligence, but then you
Yeah.
zoom into different things. There's that classic quote of like that to master one thing is to master all things.
Mm.
And in that sense, it's like people that truly go like the distance on one aspect of intelligence. If you're really going to keep developing it, it spills over into everything else. In a sense, it's almost like you can't keep
Mm.
the pools contained. That being said, with in that sense, like I think
I
he
think
has
his
such a
pool is full
hold
of
on,
all
hold on.
kinds of
I think he
shit,
has such
and
an
it's
outpouring
coming
of
from the
intelligence.
sewer.
He has such an outpouring of intelligence in a couple of ways that basically spill over to make
What
him seem no,
you
but hold on. It
you
makes him seem like a genius in other ways. You know what I mean? Like
I've
when you talk to him from certain perspectives, you're like, fuck, this guy is actually a lot smarter than a lot of people I normally talk to. But he's smart in a way that seems stupid sometimes. But it's obvious that actually he's quite an interesting intellect. He just has his own system. It seems slightly weird, but he's actually very smart, I think. How do
I
I
think
thought we were on the same
I
page about
I
this.
I think you're giving him, and I don't know what it is with you and your. I think you do it just to like like an unknown joke between you and yourself. Like I get what you're trying to say, and I'm not trying to come off like a dick or like a really big asshole, but I've always been that way. But I'm a lot more blunt, evidently. He is an idiot. Like there's no in between with Billy. Like he's
What does
he's
that
an
even
he
mean, though?
he's
Like, what is an
he's an
idiot?
he has very little common sense. He doesn't quite grasp like critical thinking skills in a conversation. Like you and I will be talking about something, and then he'll throw in, "Yeah, tell that bitch to make me a sandwich," and it's like it doesn't even like correlate to what we're saying. Maybe and the thing about him is he's not trying to be funny. Like he's being serious with the shit he says. Like he believes himself,
See, that's what
and
I thought. So I understand that perspective, but I'm saying that I think that that's
maybe
part of his mask is to seem like somebody who doesn't seem like he's
you get
joking.
it.
Like because sometimes he like
No,
when we had that conversation, there were times like when I laughed in a way that would indicate
bro is wearing the Elephant Man mask. Like he is fucking like I like for like certain durations of time. But um
but what do you mean by wearing the Elephant Man mask? I can't let that statement go unexplained.
the you know what Elephant Man looked like?
Yeah, I remember we all had to watch it in school.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily dumb. He just looked like he had like a lot of Down syndrome and a lot of issues, and maybe he probably didn't. I don't remember what he had, but I the Elephant Man mask was just the fact that to to represent that he's a retard, and I will hard R that. Um, I'm not going to politically correct myself for
No, but
all of
here's
the
the thing.
other.
I don't care about like the offensive aspect of that. I'm thinking more like, um, I don't know like how we could define
There
like
are people with Down syndrome with more common sense and that are
no, no,
smarter
no,
than
but
you.
but but like but you're talking about a guy who is
He is like
intelligent.
on the he was born. He was born into this world. He came into
Yes.
this world, right?
Yes, he
He
did.
just never fully developed certain parts of his brain. And that's very easy to tell through his speech, what he says, and like it's not only that, it's like the where was I going with this? I had a good point. I mean, it was a funny point, but he's literally he he is like on the he's like borderline um on the verge of having syndrome. Like he's one he's like he's got like his chromosome like instead of like losing one, he ended up getting like three quarters of that. And so he's not there. So he comes off looking normal and being normal, but like if you look at him, he's got all the signs and symptoms of somebody who's like three-quarter syndrome. Like
That's
he's got kind of like the droopy face with his eyes, not too much. He doesn't quite
well,
necessarily like have
hold
he's
on.
got a bit of that slurred speech.
It doesn't explain how he's able to like operate in the world though. I mean, like he can operate independently. He doesn't like there's more people
Well,
than
yeah,
you
but
would
there's plenty
suspect.
of people with syndrome who don't need anybody to help them operate.
So I wrote
Bro,
Billy.
seriously, where the fuck are you? Like it
Where the
looks
fuck
fucking
you?
cool. Like it looks like you're at like on like a vacation home or like are you at like a your Express's parents' place? Are you guys at like is this your guys is this a place that you guys like what is this? Or are you like renting this? Like what the fuck is going on right now? Because the tin
I,
ceiling and the glass
I'm
windows
gonna
and the big
pee
ass
and I'm gonna
TV
pee
in
and
the back,
then I'll be
and you've
right
got like
back.
the jaguars and the cheetahs and the leopards. You got a projection screen going on. What is going on?
I'll be right back.
Netflix. Why does he have? What the fuck is happening right now?
I will. I will.
No, not it. I know where you're at.
Where's
I
that?
figured it out. Small glass windows, tin ceiling, projection TV, smaller looking area. You secretly are at Dagobah right now.
Oh, God, I wish. I wish that were the case in some sense. But
Yeah.
that has been just a freaking nightmare, dude.
Nightmare. Yeah, I could
I
imagine.
mean, like, I think I'm gonna have
I
to get
figured
rid of
since I
that
haven't
thing.
had an update on it, and I haven't even actually thought about it up until just now. I kind of figured that it's turned into a fucking almost more of a headache than it's worth.
Oh, it's extremely sad because let me give you a really fucking twisted thing here. The so we put that we purchased that park model, which was like we freaking literally took out a loan to do that,
Yeah.
and I was thinking like those things tend to be a good investment actually. Weirdly
Right.
enough,
Yep.
people would think that's retarded, but it's like the resale value on those is like
Yeah.
to buy like a park model from 1993, you're paying pretty much almost the same as like a new one now. It's weird. Like it's a weird market.
Yeah.
Because technically they're basically like a literal small house that's technically movable. It's a pain in the
Right.
ass to move, but it sort of skirts that line. And I thought that line would entitle it to sit there as if it were like an RV. But then the county came out and they were just like, no, that's a small home, and you don't that this parcel can't
You
can't
you own
accommodate it.
that land though,
I know, but there's all these
regardless of whether it's
regulations. There's all these regulations. Like, dude, I went into like lawyer mode for like when I got onto this last year, all I could think about was this stuff, and I knew every freaking regulation. I was going through every single loophole that you could possibly exploit. Like I was looking at all the old Minnesota laws. I was going through our old deeds to try to make a point because there's a bunch of little legal loopholes that could technically go in my favor. The main
What
thing was that
about
I have to try to prove that it was an individual parcel before the law was enacted in 1970, whatever. And the records going back are a little bit sparse. It
you?
seems like it existed for a long time as a separate parcel, but I don't have enough paperwork to prove it in the official deed,
Mm,
stuff. So there's all these loopholes, is all I'm trying to say.
right.
But what were you about to interject with?
I was just gonna ask you if you ever thought about actually asking a lawyer about it, and if like, because consultation for free, and talk to them and say, hey, I have this piece, and I know you did your due diligence, I understand that, but they are lawyers, and just
Yeah.
from like all the loopholes you've already found, and seem to like maybe you don't have enough paperwork for this specific one to really make it stick, but maybe somebody else who might like, maybe if you they might be able to, like, if you tell them and say, hey, I have this, I've looked into it, I've tried to figure out these loopholes, and I've gone this route and I've done that, and you told them, they might be able to come up with something
Yeah,
and
yeah,
be
but the,
like,
the
yeah, okay.
reality is that I might be able to find somebody like that, but this is where we assume the real world operates like a fucking movie. And in most
Well,
cases, when you contact random lawyers, they're basically Karens. They're like, well,
well,
this is
right.
the way it is, and that's the thing. And it's like, no, 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 but I
Well,
want you to be like
so
my Aaron Brockovich. I want you to be Aaron
yeah,
Brockovich. You got to figure this shit out. Like, do some, like, I want to more historians on, like, find somebody who can dig into this stuff. But they're going to be like, come
for
on,
one,
man.
for
You're not
one,
allowed. You got to do the thing. And where I'm at now is you got to get a
it
variance.
can
This is my
happen. It's
one
not
in.
allowed.
No, but listen to what I'm saying. This is the interesting thing because now my brain has processed this as a problem to solve, right? I
Right.
feel that I've already gone through all the like, I know what the remaining options are. The remaining
Okay.
option is that you go in and you get a variance. And the interesting thing about the variance, just intellectually interesting, like regardless of what happens, I thought it was very interesting. It's the
Okay.
one of these weird areas where true, like a little democratic council exists that actually is random fucking people that just so happen to be on this environmental board, and they're just like
Oh,
regular people that have normal jobs, and in the state like DNR or whatever can they're there presiding over it, sort of being like, our job is to remind the counselors what the rules are, but
right.
technically if the counselors say something, like if they give an exception, even though the Minnesota DNR is like,
It,
that's not technically legal,
the vote
that is still
overrules them.
binding.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
It
So
would
like that's a
it would
very
over
interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
it would what the council would say would overrule whatever.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
really interesting because like when you like I just started looking into this because I was like, fuck, maybe there's a way that I can, maybe I know somebody. Like maybe because it's a small town, like maybe I have a family member who's friends with somebody on the council. So instantly my brain goes to basically like, again, scale politics. My brain is like, who do I know that can get me an advantage that other people don't have?
All right. So you're
And
saying
then
I got to get, how do I get on the environmental board then? What do I got to
yeah,
do?
exactly. I don't
Hug
fucking
some
know.
trees or something?
No, but I'm saying like you probably have like, I bet you if I told you all the members, you would talk to your mom and your mom would be like, "Well, oh yeah, I went to school with that guy. Oh yeah, he always had a crush on me or something." And then I'd be like, "Oh, but did she ever like see that guy out or anything like that?" Yeah,
Right.
sometimes she sees him at Zorba's, and then I go,
Well, to be
"Oh, well,
honest,
maybe next time
you
she's
know,
at
you know,
Zorba's, she could talk about Dagobah and about how Cole's trying to do all this stuff." And I even looked in. I was trying to get universities around the area. I was going to dedicate because because my shit was not conforming. They call it conforming. I reached out to like Bemidji State University, Minnesota State University. I basically said, I will sign a lifetime contract with you that you can study the effects of like my situation on a small parcel, and all, like if I put in a well, I'm going to put in the most environmentally uh, safe well. If I put in a sewer, like septic, it's going to be like the top of the line, most environmentally sensitive. I'm going to like plant good like flowers. I'm going to encourage pollinators like dragonflies and all this kind of shit. Like because I feel like the lake has lost a lot of like dragonflies. Like, okay, what could I do to improve that? So I reached out to like multiple programs, And I said, I'll sign like a lifetime contract with you. I just wanted one of them to be like, yeah, that sounds like a good deal. So, and I was going to basically say, like, you can bring students out anytime to take samples. You can use my property. The only thing is, I would just request like a 5 day notice or something like that.
Right.
And that was my whole like, this was my big like, oh my God, this is foolproof. But I could not find anybody that was willing to do it. Like they responded and they were like, yeah, we went to our department head or whatever. And they were like, nah. And basically I was like basically saying like, I'm going to give you an asset. I'll sign this lease to the university that you can access the property at any time.
Damn.
I just wanted something that I could bring to the counselors to make this seem like if you're going to make an exception for me, make it based on the fact that I'm going above and beyond. Because what is the spirit of the law? The spirit of the law is we don't want our lakes to be all fucked up. So I understand the spirit of the law, but if you're going to apply the spirit of the law, then you kind of have to say, okay, I'm going to go above and beyond so that my non-conforming tiny parcel over-conforms in every other way. Like it's like
Right.
like I got
Yeah, I get
native
it.
plants. I don't put fertilizers, or I would even commit to like I'll never use bug spray. I'll never use fucking chemicals. Like I could be completely on board with the environmental agenda so that I could get an exception. Because that I think that would be pretty cool. Like I'm not like a
Right.
tree hugger, but I think that would be pretty cool. Like I do want that lake to be preserved and I to be conserved. I think it's quite conservative. It's like I want to
Yeah.
conserve this. But yeah, I now maybe I probably have given up prematurely. I haven't really given up, but it's like sort of depressing now.
Well, no, I get
But
it. I get
technically,
it.
I
It's kind of like
could still
it sounds
explore
like
that
you've
possibility.
gone to pretty great length, and I didn't know you were did any of that or did all that, but it sounds like you've gone to a great length, and now you're kind of at a fucking stand. That's what
Well, now the thing is
standstill.
that I have to probably figure something out soon because I think that area is kind of vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't know if it makes sense to have something sitting there that ultimately I can't occupy. I don't know at what point it starts to like, you know, I don't know, people going and like breaking into it and shit like that. I don't fucking know, honestly. Like, so I don't know if it makes sense as a thing to sit there while I figure this out. That's kind of the depressing thing. Because I think over time, like, if the only rule is like I can keep it parked there, but I can't occupy it because that's kind of where we're at now. That's why
Right.
that thing hasn't had to be moved. Because they finally had to say, well, technically, yeah, he can store something there. The thing is that
Okay.
it becomes an occupancy if he uses it. So again, like these regulations are so ridiculous. Like, I mean, it's way over the top. But again, if I'm going to play their game, then their game, the way to play that is to like go way above and beyond to try to make it environmentally friendly. And I don't think I've fully locked in on that. I think I can't abandon that strategy because it's way too obvious. You know what I mean? Like, and
Well,
it's also
it
kind
is
of
a good strategy. Maybe you just have to. I mean, how many different places did you reach out to, like
maybe
universities and
like
stuff, just to
four, maybe like four. I mean, I didn't explore anything beyond I was thinking like
right,
Bemidji, University of Minnesota. I didn't really think like maybe there's an angle here where I could get like national groups to co-sponsor something like this. Like make it an experimental parcel. I don't really care. I just want to be able to use it. I like as long as I continue to own it and I can continue to use it. I don't mind offering access to like people that are like going to go test water samples and all this kind of stuff. That I think that's like an obvious win for me, and potentially has greater effects beyond myself. So whatever. But technically, I haven't explored all the possibilities there, and I don't really want to give up until I try that. There's the other possibility of like trying to acquire some adjoining property, and it's not an option to get the family plot, but there's a possibility in the future of like the property below the parcel. If I just owned a tiny bit of it, then mine would become conforming. So it's basically like if I could
well, how much
convince,
does it? How much does it? How much is it? The tiny portion? Like,
like
is it
worth.
pretty
Or
just to own? Like, if you were to buy that piece of land to own
oh
that
yeah, if you
portion,
just bought that undeveloped raw land, like my parcel is only valued as like without any like clearing of the land, it was only valued at like $10,000 for tax purposes.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And the
Yeah.
second I put in a driveway, it was like suddenly the next year they were like, oh, now it's worth 20,000. You know what I mean? So like, and now at this point, now I'm in a stupid situation because even though I don't have any, it's almost like the different parts of the county don't talk to each other. So it's almost like I legally can't use that thing that I've put out there, the park model. And technically, from an environmental standpoint, it's sitting there as storage. But from the tax assessor standpoint, they've basically now they think my property value has
I
doubled. No,
I
they think
should
it's
go out there
doubled.
and
So now
check
I
on it
owe,
for you.
last
I
year
should
I
go
owed
out there and
80.
check on it for you to make sure you don't have a fucking squatter in there, to
No,
be
but that's the
honest.
thing. But listen to what I'm saying. Last year, before I put that thing there, my property tax for that parcel was estimated at $80. And then now I just got this recent assessment that obviously includes the park model sitting there, and now it's $180. So in other words, they like bumped up the property value so much as if there was a unit there that could be occupied, even though the environmental standpoint is that it's not legally there and I can never use it until I get some kind of variance. So in other words, like I'm getting taxed as if it's usable, but it's actually like the county itself has said I can't use it. So now we have this is where like the bureaucracy and the tax code and all that shit becomes oppressive, right? Like it's and not to mention that just you can't use a piece of land that you own, even in the most reasonable way. Like there should be at least a process to say like, if I do these things, then can I have a non-conforming parcel? Like if I make this like the best it could possibly be environmentally, then can I have that? That should almost be like a
That,
fucking
a
process.
thing that sounds fucking ridiculous. Like you own this, but you don't.
Exactly.
Basically, on paper, it says, yeah, okay, it's mine, but it's not.
No, no. Or at
You
least
did.
it's like it is, but it actually is because it becomes more like just a piece of paper in the sense that all they're allowing is that, yeah, you own a piece of dirt on a lake and you can walk through there and you can go and stand there and like throw your fishing pole in and you can probably camp there. You can put a tent and all this kind of stuff, but you're not allowed to do anything beyond that.
What if we make Dagobah out of the ground and we build a fucking actual in-ground living space like you see them fucking people do and like those shorts and shit, and they speed it up and they build this fucking crazy ass fucking living space, and it's the fucking walls are just made with basically clay, all the shit they do that hardens.
I mean, the thing is, the soil out there on that part of the
I'm
lake is
gonna have to start
completely
going out
incredible.
there. I'm gonna have to build a conforming.
I don't know about that, dude.
I can do it, dude. I can do it.
I mean,
I think I can do it, man.
all right. I mean, you think you've watched enough of those videos? Like
Yeah, I've watched enough
something
of them. I see what they do with that shit.
something
I
of an
got this,
expert at
bro.
this point?
I mean, basically a YouTube expert.
Yeah, well, I mean, is there any other kind? You know?
Exactly. So I think I can do it. I think I can build it out.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
I got this, dude. So get this. I met a chick. Evidently, there is a group on Facebook that women are in,
Hmm.
and they talk about people they've met like online, like Tinder or probably in person, whatever. Somehow,
Is it a local
I
group?
I don't know if it's not local in like Park Rapids, but local like Minnesota local. Okay,
Oh yeah,
is my take on it, because the chick I met was from um fucking Wapaton, I think.
I
Anyways,
love the names of towns in Minnesota.
right?
I'm
Wapaton.
from Wapaton and
Wapat. I'm from
Jopaton and
Wapaton. But um, so she said that I have been brought up in that group. Like I am on there, and women have like talked to me and met me.
really?
Yeah.
And what have they? I mean, has that been?
So, and the general consensus is that I love bomb them and sweet talk them, and then I am uh cocky.
I mean, define cocky, and
Well, right.
also, do you
I
feel that that's accurate?
no, that's the funny thing. Um, so it's like, but I was. Are you pissing? Where are you? Are you in Japan? Are you peeing in a highly intelligent toilet? What the fuck is happening right now? Anyways, I just thought it was, and as soon as that chick told me that, I stopped talking to her.
Yeah.
Because that's just fucking weird. Anyways, I was like, holy fuck. I am in some fucking, like, I am talked about by other women who have met me and have, like, talked to me. And that is the general consensus is I'm basically a man whore, which isn't necessarily wrong by any means,
I
but
mean, it's like yeah, in a sense, because any like let's break it down and not be
it's
so
weird
vague
because you're
here.
going to have these women on here who have talked to me who maybe I had a conversation with them or I don't really know them and they don't really know me, and it's like they get this, but first impressions are everything, right? But evidently their first impression is that I'm full of shit, which is funny. um I don't know. It was a really interesting
Well,
thing
but
because
do
I didn't
you
know this girl.
are you doing something when you meet chicks
Oh yeah,
that feels to
I
you
have a
like you're being phony, or like that, like, or whatever you want to call it, like
well, to be honest,
because obviously
like
there's
for the
some performance going on with all these kinds of things,
right
obviously, right? Like,
from
because you can't be your full total self. Like
right.
anybody who's their full total self will be rejected by everybody all the time, and that goes
I
both
basically
ways.
just I I basically just try to get like nudes from chicks. That's all I do. I'm really
Oh,
good at that. Um,
well, that
like
might
I
explain
just
some
meet
of the
random chicks on
feedback,
Tinder
though.
and I talk to them and I get them to get naked and then I block them. But it's just interesting to me that
I mean, I understand that as a exercise or something like that, but it would not garner sympathy for the female situation. Like,
right. But when I'm thoroughly interested in somebody, it's different, right? I'm a different breed of man when it comes to like a woman.
okay, well, what's your perspective on that as like philosophically? Like, okay,
What
you must have some moral rationale for that, right? Like, so what's the
for me
rationale?
saying that I'm like just a different. Well,
No,
I've
no, no,
heard
no,
it a
no, no,
lot.
not that, not
Oh,
that. I'm talking about
oh,
like trying to extract nudes from chicks. Okay, like no, but I'm saying like there's a few ways to think about this. Like one way
yes,
is, hey, we're all adults, like
right.
whatever, like fucking
So, are you
like
asking how I go about it?
no, but I'm asking like how you feel about it as like because some people would be like, I'm just trying to anticipate. Like I
Disgusting.
understand, yeah, but they would be like, wow, what a fucking pig or whatever. And I'm saying like I think a lot of times these things happen and they're not really fully fleshed out. Like I
Right.
think there's some rationale here, which like I would say for some of the things that popped in my mind is like being willing to how do I explain this? This is actually quite interesting. Uh, like I could imagine like coming to the conclusion that I'm gonna be like whatever loose about throwing things like that out at people. Like if somebody is sufficiently convinces me then it's kind of my problem if I do it, right? Like, and I can imagine doing that
Are
possibly.
you asking how I feel about it?
Yeah, but I'm
Like
just no, but
as
I'm just trying to like I'm just trying to say like anticipate people's because you know this part of your psyche. Anticipate people's reaction to hearing that and then explain like why that doesn't feel morally wrong based on the given facts, like how people
okay,
actually are.
okay. So that
Because you don't
um
operate as if that's morally wrong. I know you. So what is it about it? What is it about that approach that is not morally wrong that other people might prejudge? Because
oh man.
I can think of a bunch of stuff,
Um
but I'm not you. But I can think of a lot of ways to like that
okay,
makes
so we'll put this out there. Okay. A lot of times it's not intentional, right? Like I don't do it specifically to do that, but you start talking to somebody and then you want to meet them and you do this, you do that, they want to meet you, so on and so forth. And it's like, well, they might live here, I live here, and it's not generally usually very far, but um it's like I guess it's kind of come to the point now where it almost feels natural, and the fact that Tinder is a cesspool of degenerates, generally speaking, me and myself included. Um, I mean, for the most part, I am on there to when I am on there, I seeking something real. But I mean, at the same time, it's like after you've been wronged so many times by people, it's almost like you don't want to, you build up this wall that you don't even realize you have, and then it's like, okay, well, all I'm probably going to get out of this are some nudes anyways, because they're going to go fuck me over in the long run, or they're going to be this, or, it's not going to last anyways. It's nothing that's
right,
going to be
right.
real. And you're both adults and you're both, mutually consenting to the, like, yeah, okay, I want to see this. I want to see that, so
Yeah,
on and so
yeah,
forth.
yeah,
And
exactly,
so,
exactly.
so morally speaking, it's like, it's not like I'm sitting there trying to, you know, convince them of doing it, more or less. I mean, you could say that I am, because sometimes I definitely am, but um, if I'm being honest, sometimes I
Yeah,
definitely am. But at the same time, when you swipe on somebody on Tinder, you're not swiping on them because you want to marry them. You might be swiping on them because you want to get to know them, but you're swiping on them at first glance because it's okay, they're attractive. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
always
yeah,
physicality. Like if somebody on Tinder
yeah,
said,
yeah.
"Oh no, I swiped on you because of your profile," I'd said, "Yeah, bullshit," because the first thing he
But
sees in a
but okay,
picture.
now let's take some interesting aspects of this.
And
What?
and so the morally wrong portion of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
the way I make it morally right in my head is that we being on Tinder and doing this and the dating, I'm doing this knowing that you're both full well knowing that at some point that's probably going to happen. It's just a matter of the dude initiating it, because very few women I ever get are just like, hey, I've had a few that are that very much that way, but women aren't much different from men in many ways. Like
Right.
they're
I
different.
agree.
They're different when it comes to a relationship and actually, being sexual and doing this. Some of them, they take in a lot more. It's much more of an emotional experience than it is just a physicality for a man, right? It's like, okay, I got my nut, I'm good. But at the same time,
Well, I
um,
mean, men can get like. I mean,
well,
I
I
think
was gonna
men
say,
can
men
feel
at the
very
same time,
deeply.
I get emotionally involved with women. Like I'm very, and that's why I say when then I come to the point where it's like, okay, I'm a different breed of man. Like, yeah, I
But
very
I think it's
much
also that like if you actually take it a little bit cynically here, because I think everything you
okay.
said is right, and I also have the thought now that like obviously you are around your mom a lot, you're also around your sister a lot, and and you've grown up with your mom similar to me, right? Like and also your grandma being, but also your grandpa, but still like like that's feminine influence, and then you understand things like in a way that's like I'm not against women, but also this whole narrative is kind of silly because I've lived with women. Like I understand how they actually are. Like apart from like all like because you're able to differentiate. I think there's people that can't really differentiate the different roles. You know what I mean? Like and
Mm,
because that's part of like the the opposite of the horribleness of the left wokeism is also the like the right thing of like where it's becoming extremely misogynistic in some circles. You know what I mean? Like where it's like,
Okay, and the funny thing, I mean, the add to this here. The funny thing is about that is that it's you have all these leftist woke people, and they're all so against all these other things, but and I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but from my own general consensus of, and I've a lot of, and the majority of women are very much left.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally.
they're the ones most willing to be be more of a slut than a right wing person because those women, and I'm not trying to sound. I don't think it's massage. It's just from personal experience, right? So a lot of the things that you believe or that you have an idea about are based on your own personal experiences. Like
Yeah,
you are shaped
yeah.
by everybody in the world is shaped, and everybody
And
has
the thing is, you
everybody
can't
has.
run your conclusion from your experience through some filter of like, well, this would not be
Well,
considered
right,
an acceptable.
exactly,
Because
and
if you do,
and
that's how you become like a fucking cult follower. It's
yeah,
like you have to run
exactly,
it
and
through your
so.
own shit first and then
But
evaluate what the
it's
outside
just this weird
world
thing
says.
where it's like a lot of the most left women, they're a lot less um confident in themselves, and they're a lot more willing to put themselves out there in a in a way that is they think is empowering, right? Like the OnlyFans chicks and all these women that do all this stuff, a lot of them are very, I'm sure there are plenty that are right wing, but it seems like the majority of these women are very like left wing, and they have this idea of well, it's what is it, my body, my choice type of deal. And it's like that's the totally wrong perspective in my opinion to have as yourself, especially nowadays as a woman, because but they have this idea of my body, my choice. Okay, so I can do the sex working, or I can do these nudes, and I can send this, and I can do that, and I can do this. And they have this idea that it's because it's their body. But that's not a way to empower yourself as a woman. You should be empowering yourself as a woman by respecting yourself and
Well, and
being
also
less
not just
willing to
that, but
want.
like also from a spiritual perspective, why should any one gender be like prioritizing as a principle the body
Sex
as
and
an
nudism
ultimate.
and
Well, no, but I'm saying like also the body as a source of identity has been way over
right.
exaggerated. Like, do you remember the '90s? I think that's part of like the spiritual zeitgeist that we were in the '90s. Is it was like a lot of people were comfortable. Like, even though you grew up like with the Fox News going on, and I don't even, my family never really talked politics that much, ironically, but like, I don't know, my grandparents voted Republican, and my mom was obviously a single mom who was probably quite liberal, but she was going, like, she wanted to be a psychologist, so she was never really irrational. But we just never really got into this stuff. But regardless, fuck, where was I?
Zeitgeist of
Yeah, the zeitgeist of the '90s
yeah.
was fuck. Rewind me
It was
before that.
it was different though, because then women could say, well, back in the 70s and 80s we lived free and we did this and that was okay. But that's different because nowadays it's not about being free, and it's not really about my body, my choice. It's literally about money. It's about the wrong things. Like they're not doing it they're doing it because of a low self-confidence. They're doing it because they want to feel accepted. They're doing it because they want the attention. And the reason they want all this attention, the reason they want all of these guys schmoozing over them and simping over them, whatever term you want to use nowadays, is that
I think
because
simping is good.
that's
Yeah.
what makes them feel good. But that shouldn't be what makes you feel good nowadays as a woman specifically.
No, no.
But the reason it is, you have men to blame for it, but you have society to blame for it, because now the societal norms are OnlyFans. The societal norms for women are, oh, if I show myself. The societal women for norms uh is is their way of thinking that I'm confident because I'm not afraid to show my body. But that doesn't show confidence with men. Like if you meet a guy like me, like if you want to do that, that's all well and good, but I'm not going to want anything to do with you romantically or relationship wise. I'm just going to want to use you. And then they sit out there and they ramble on about how guys are pigs and guys misogynistic and guys
Yeah,
only want me for sex. Well, the only reason they want you for sex or they want you for these things is because this is what you portray. This is what you are representing. This is what you are showing. Like this, and they bitch about it. Like, oh, guys just want. Well, yeah, that's all they're gonna want you for, and that's all men want women for anymore nowadays is because of the way society and it's this society is the way it is now because of Instagram and all the social media and all the bullshit that's been put out there. So they use this my body my choice bullshit as a way to be like, well, I'm not doing it because, of whatever reason. I'm doing it for myself, and they feel like they're empowering themselves when in reality, they're never going to meet anybody decent doing it that way. They're just disrespecting themselves and disrespecting anybody around them. Really, like, could you imagine like your daughter or my daughter, and all of a sudden, oh, my daughter has an only. Oh, that's great. You know how disgusted I would be, and like those parents would feel that way. It's just one of those things where it's like,
yeah. Okay. So let's take that for a second. Like, because that's actually quite useful when you think about anything, really. Like, that's also what the feminists say when you talk about porn, which is like, would you want, like, what if it was your sister or your daughter or whatever? Like, in other words, the angle there is like, well, if you think that's disturbing, then you should find it disturbing to view anybody else's sister, daughter, whatever, like, because you understand how and I think that's kind of the point you're making. Also, like, we have to understand that, like, regardless of whatever side you're on, that same principle is a principle. And then my response to that principle is like, well, I don't want to be a hypocrite. So, okay, so what are the basic things that make me think that, say, pornography would be ethical for anyone? As weird as that conversation is. And basically it would have to be like, well, there's no exploitation. It's not something that is like where there's somebody's pimping anybody out, or there's no like weird, like it's like you own your thing. And then
yeah, but you also have to realize though, like a lot of them women that do that stuff are being pimped out.
no,
Like
exactly, and that's what I'm
they're
saying.
doing it
That's why
like that's
I've
the
always
problem.
argued that. So this is where the weird like debates that people have with each other. I'm quite libertarian in the sense that I feel like prostitution should be legal. I've had this debate with a ton of people because I feel like it exists anyway. People are going to do it anyway. But again, similar to the discussion that we have on drugs, it's like we know for sure that, well, first of all, it gets exploited by pimps and pimp gangs and all these kind of like, or whatever you want to call them, like organized crime.
Yeah,
There's all this shit that happens. Like when you make it a black market thing, the only people that are putting any supply into the market are the criminals. Like that's just, and then they don't follow any regulations. They can be illegal. They're already breaking the law there, so there's no incentive to be legal in any other way. You're like, oh fuck it, this is already in the black, so like we don't have to pay taxes. We don't have to. There's all this stuff that they do, and I'm just saying that like, in a sense, like making that shit illegal is also telling women that you actually don't, because it's also feeding into a lie. It's like we're pretending that sex isn't already transactional. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the biggest
right.
hypocrisy to me is it's like it's okay to take somebody on a date and buy them dinner and like try to seduce them. Like that's people write poems about seduction. If we're going to say seduction's not allowed, what is that other than a form of manipulation, right? Like so people say like
Yeah.
consenting, but it's like everybody's manipulated into things all the time. That's normal. That's how we
Mhm.
actually operate, right? It's just bullshit to
Right.
so you bring somebody
I
out,
think I think I
you
think for
bring
me
somebody
though,
out,
it's
you do
less
all that
about
stuff.
the
Like, doesn't it feel
yeah.
like actually, in some sense, you transacted? Like, if you didn't bring enough value in a bunch of different ways, you would not have gotten laid. So you
Right.
exchanged value for sexual whatever, and there's a bunch of other stuff that goes into that, right? But
Hmm.
what is the fundamental difference there if we say like, yeah, but let's just cut through the bullshit and say since we're already doing that, okay, fine, it is legal. Yeah, if somebody wants, you can just literally meet somebody in the bar and you can say like, instead of I'll buy you a drink, you can say like 500, 700. I mean, like it probably would never fly socially in that sense. But I'm saying like, if you put people, if you take away the black market and you put people just in charge of like, whatever, it's
Yeah.
far more likely that this evolve, like that this only exists as a non-exploitive thing. Maybe detrimental to the fabric of society. I'm not even arguing that, but I'm just saying as an
Well, right, but
individual
I
right.
think it's yeah, I think it's just now though that it's become such a norm nowadays, which I don't believe me, I don't have a problem with it, whatever. But it's still like it still boils down to just like the um a woman who does respect themselves, and a lot of them end up, like they can't feel good about themselves later on in life. You're not going to tell me,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
some do. Like the question is, this is the also the interesting thing about the question of prostitution. One of the things that I found very hard when I brought up to people to reconcile, because I don't have an answer for it either, is when people talk about like exploiting somebody's body, for instance. That's what prostitution is like at a weird level. Like we perceive it as a different level, but then you bring up the fact of like, we hire people to go, like we have the Matt Lawleys that we ask them, we pay you money to go climb up on a tower, which there's a very good chance, some shit could happen and you ain't gonna make it down. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty fucked up thing to ask you, but we're allowed to ask you to literally put your entire life on the line. But somehow it's worse to say to women like, "Hey, you're allowed to like risk your dignity." You know what I mean? Like basically, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like we're already legalizing a lot of exploitation about people's bodies to make society function. And if there's already a freaking market for this shit, you may as well just make it legal. Take out all the fucking criminals that are doing a bunch of other illegal shit and then just wrapping this into their program.
Yeah.
And then, but here's what I'm saying though. I think that the society also takes care of the shit that you're mentioning, which is like the degradation aspects. It seems like things tend to go in cycles where it's like right now, if that many people are basically becoming retards and like putting themselves all over the internet and making a bunch of bad decisions, the next two generations will probably find that to be like, oh my god, what an embarrassing time in history. We almost have to like trust the process there. Like this is probably going to become like a fad like anything else if it's that prominent. It's like if the next generation does anything, it's rebel against whatever's mainstream. So that's why I think like why Gen Z is suddenly becoming a lot more conservative because they're basically rebelling against the hardcore liberalism, which is like, yeah, that
Well, I
makes sense.
mean, it's bad. It's pretty bad nowadays, and it was a good point that you made in one of our conversations before, where, I mean, basically, Republicans are now the Democrats, and because the Democrats are extremely, they're also far left now with their. It's almost like it's like you have Democrats, progressive liberals. What you have Democrats, then you have like the progressive, or you have liberals, and you have like progressive liberals, or whichever words you want to use. But
Yeah,
it's like,
there's a bunch of
and it
different
seems
ways.
like a lot of them are very, very hardcore, and it's just like, I don't know. It's
No,
a
I
really weird world out there right now. But
I
my
totally
question
agree.
now, and now this is a totally and absolutely terrible segue, but it's going to happen, is the fucking um my take on this is like kind of dumb because I was looking at the files, some of them. I didn't look extensively at all by any means. Um, I more or less just skimmed, browsed, barely, you could call it that. So like all of the extraterrestrial, all those files that were released, and evidently more are getting released. There's nothing like super exciting about it. There were a couple things I watched that were actually quite odd that you can see in there. They have them as a video,
It's a smoke
but like,
screen, dude.
but yeah, exactly. But most of it
And
is
I don't say
just
that as like some kind of QAnon. Like I just, it's just
no. You're
obviously.
oh no, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I mean, tin hat or no tin hat, it's definitely a smokescreen for something else. But it's always that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a weird. Like, don't get me. I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit going on. Like some in the U. Like it's really weird. Like there. I mean, it's been a civil war now for the past. I mean, since Trump got in office. But it's he's doing a lot of good things, but there's a lot of bad shit going. It's really quite. I don't know even what to put my finger on because I'm definitely. I mean, I voted for the guy, and I don't agree with everything he does, but
Don't think in terms of Trump. Think in terms of what's happening. The system. What is the system doing? What are the levers within the system that are because the thing is the system doesn't
there.
act. Oh, hold on. The system
The
doesn't act
system.
as.
So
Oh, hold on. It doesn't
here's
act as one
I
unified
guess my
thing.
opinion from that. My opinion from that is here's the system. The
All right.
system has been going wrong since we were born, before we were born. And
Okay,
now that
that's not what I
everything
mean.
is,
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I'm saying like the inner workings of the current machine. Just to take Trump as one wheel that is turning certain levers. He's doing certain things. He's applying certain pressures. I'm not super cynical about Trump, but I'm also not like I don't think that he's like some bastion of like
no,
he's far from like a good ruler archetype or something like that. Like he's not a platonic philosopher king. He's not some kind of like great, whatever. But he is some kind of weird like correction mechanism in the system. And the question is like the thing is that you can't view it as one system with a big unified goal. The
it's
system
all
is
everything. So many
counter.
things, though. The thing is, so many things have come to light, though, since he's been in office.
Well, okay,
And
the main thing that's come to light is that he opposed digging further on the Epstein files, and he acted really really weird about it. And I'm not defending that. I actually think it was weird, and I think probably they do have some shit on him. But the thing is, like, you have to then ask yourself, what is the level of the shit that they have on him? Is it like okay now and again like this is something that would be super politically incorrect, but is it like because like me and Spress have talked about this, is it that okay there's a sex tape out there with somebody who's technically a minor but is like of legal age in some country, like for instance like in Scotland, UK or whatever, it's like 16 is the age of consent. Let's say that there is some thing that they have of Trump where he's with like a 16 or 17-year-old and he's like in his 30s or something like that. Yeah, many people would say like, oh, that's horrible and all this kind of shit, right? But that is a very different thing from all of the other shit that is alleged to exist, which is like we're talking so depraved that we're talking about small children, we're talking about babies, we're talking about weird shit. But
oh
here's the
yeah,
thing, is Trump the kind of guy that like even if he is somewhat aware of all this weirdness that's going on around him, he still doesn't want the public to know that he fucked a 16-year-old? Because my vibe from him is like I could see
yeah.
him having some kind of a compromising thing with somebody who's pubescent but underage.
Well, right, but then again, it's
But
like
I'm saying like would he actually would he be so worried about just something like that that he actually would be willing to help with it? Because they probably are blackmailing him with something like that. But I'm saying like does one really
Epstein
believe the shit?
blackmailed everybody.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I'm talking about the deep state, the powers that be, the CIA, the Israeli lobby, the whatever. Like even though in many ways I support Israel over the alternatives, but so no, like again, both sides here. Like I'm not anti-Israel or pro-Israel. I'm saying like obviously they are lobbying him, and obviously Epstein was connected to Israel. But on the other hand, like there is also a bunch of shit. Like I don't believe in Islamic society in the fucking like I think it's been a force for fucking negativity and evil in the world. So it's like, would I rather have the Jews having a homeland, or would I rather have more and more fucking propagation of Islam? I definitely don't want more propagation of Islam. I think the
Oh
philosophy
God.
is, yeah, it's morally bankrupt. So it's like people have to have an honest philosophical conversation about this stuff. It's not about being on. I'm not pro Israel or anti Israel. I think actually like Israel exists just like every other country. You put your flag down, you defend your spot, and if you win, you get it. If you don't win, you don't get it. That's the way it really works. Like no country was formed by like kumbaya, where it was like, hey guys, I just decided that you know what, this is going to be mine now, and I'm just going to live here now. It was like somebody else was like, no, but that was ours, and then you're like, oh well, now I'm defending it, and then you go to war, and then you win the territory, and then countries evolve and all that shit. So, like, how is Israel any different from any other country that exists in the world? Like, its borders are formed through conflict and staking a flag in the ground, right?
I don't know. It's just there's just a lot, and I don't know. The world is just really weird.
Oh,
A
that's
lot of weird shit going on, a lot of things, and it's all intentional, but it's which is adds to the weirdness.
well, but we don't see we can't make the claim that we know that certain
What
things are
what what
intentional.
is really going on though? Like my biggest interest is what happens like because the you know there's been a lot of bad shit going on in the US for a long time or with like just with everything within the government. Like so many bad things that have gone on for so many years with each president, each new president. And now that Trump has brought everything, not everything, but a lot of things into light, it's really made me start to think like, wow, like all this stuff was going on with all these, like what happens when like a new president gets in office? Does everything like what is going? I'm really curious about what what where the U.S. is going to be after Trump is out of office, because I mean there's been a lot of bad things going on all over, and it's all been exposed. And I'm not saying that Trump hasn't done no wrong or anything like that, but he's definitely shed light on all of the wrongdoings that have happened,
Yeah,
regardless of whether it was him or
yeah,
not. And
yeah.
it's kind of a scary thing to think about because like there's and people have always known it. It's just more or less that now that more people are aware of it, it makes it a I don't know, it makes it more
Well,
of
and
a
think about this, Clinton, because I think this is the same train of thought you're on. Like, imagine that fucking, because I know there's conspiracies around all this stuff, but my read on it is that these things are authentic, but you know I could be wrong. But the guy has they keep trying to assassinate him, and I know that like there's a perspective that these things are fake or whatever, and there may be some deeper layer where these things are staged in some way. I really don't know, but all I will say is like
there's there's a reason.
imagine if they weren't staged and things were a little bit like you experience real life, like that actually, like even when you hire like the best plumber in town, sometimes it turns out that he fucks up your pipes. Like just because we have an infrastructure with a bunch of fucking weirdos that are in control of assassinations and stuff doesn't mean they actually do things perfectly.
The dude's been he they've tried to assassinate this guy what, four times now, three
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
And it's and you know and it's funny because the last dude that tried to do it didn't have any sort of evidently didn't he was a school teacher,
Well,
and
he
he didn't
wrote
have
some manifesto or something,
yeah,
supposedly.
and he had this manifesto, but he was a school teacher and he had no criminal record,
Yeah,
but he has such a hatred for a person.
yeah.
And then I'm going to put my tin hat on, but you can have such a hatred for a person that you want to kill them, and then that side, the leftist side, tries to make Trump and all these other Republic. At least Trump's not going out trying to assassinate all these other people. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe it has happened. We don't know, right? But I don't know. It's just really weird. There hasn't been a there hasn't been like such a hated yet loved president ever, like in our
Not in our
history, aside
lifetime.
from who was it, JFK maybe?
Well, no, but like if like I'm not, I would never claim to be an expert, but every now and again I dip my toe back into like the former presidents and stuff, and what you realize when you go back through not human, when you go back through American history, is you realize that you're surprised by how unsurprising it is. You're like, oh, okay, so this is kind of like it's different issues, but then it gives you a different perspective. You're like, okay, the like how the dynamics were when they like outlawed alcohol. You can kind of imagine like you kind of know who would be for that when you take it as a modern issue. You're like, I know exactly which side would be for that. But the thing is,
Allergies.
there's always two
I've
sides.
been rubbing them. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's
I'm
fine.
listening. Go.
I'm saying
Keep
there's always
going.
two sides. There's always two sides, and it's been a very contentious debate going on for the entire 250 years of the United States. Like so that was my main point, but actually that wasn't my main point. That was not.
No, it wasn't. You didn't make a point yet.
I know, but I forgot what we were talking about.
That was my fault because April came in and I was like, "Oh, hi," and then you stopped and then you
No, no,
restarted and then
no,
forgot what
it's
you were
okay.
saying.
It's
So
all
I
good.
apologize for that. But I think I feel like you were getting at, like, because I haven't went back to look, but evidently you have, that. Were you trying to make the point of this isn't surprising that this is
Yeah,
happening with
yeah,
him
yeah,
because it's
yeah, yeah.
happened plenty of times before,
Yeah, the
right?
point is like you go back to these points in fucking American history, just American history. And now I've been
Right.
getting like I've been reading, like I said, some maybe I told you the last time, but I've been reading some Roman history, and just to like get a snapshot of time, and you realize like so many things, like even the way that they talk about like this guy Tacitus, he reads like a modern writer. Like obviously it's been translated, but this translation is trying to honor the original, and he's quite hard to translate. But when you read him, he sounds like a modern writer because he's quite to the point, sparse, like doesn't get all lofty and whatever. And he's living at like the year 200 AD. So
Wow.
the Roman
What book is
Empire.
that?
Well, no, but it's just
What
Tacitus.
is it?
So he's a Roman historian that was also a senator, and he existed in the maybe around the year like 200 AD. And he writes the histories for like one, two, three, four, the very beginnings of imperial Rome, like when Rome went from being a republic to an empire. So he doesn't really touch much on Augustus, who happened to be the first Roman emperor, and was deified, like made a god in a sense. But then what I never knew was that this guy Tiberius followed him, who was selected by Augustus. And it's this whole like he's critiquing like power, and he's critiquing like the turn into an empire from the republic, and but he's trying to be neutral as possible, but he's obviously like he's being very honest about the fucked up things that like the emperors did up to his time. And he also lived in a time with an emperor, and I was actually like doing some research on this, and it was like it doesn't make sense that he was able to be this free back in 200 AD. Like they still had the emperor and all this kind of stuff. And they were like, yeah, but Tacitus happened to live in a period where there was like one or two emperors who were very like, basically it was pretty free. But they just had to depend on like the whims of the freaking emperors. So it's like, and then after that, it clamped down again for a while. So like this guy's writings just exist in this period where it's like we're 200 years or maybe a little less. Like we're maybe a few generations from the founding of the or the beginning of the Roman Empire, where it turned from republic to empire. And
Oh, Jesus Christ. Bro is on a Roman kick now.
I'm not
There's
on a Roman
always
kick.
a fucking stage. It just dawned on me. My God. This. Oh, hold on. What the fuck? Bro is. Now he's been on. Now he's on a fucking Roman Empire. He's on the whole.
No.
I mean,
It's
these
not
aren't
that.
bad phases. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's super interesting.
No,
Like,
no, but
that's actually.
it's not. It's not that.
So
Like I also
I have to
bought.
ask you. I have to ask you.
Yeah.
Since you've been on this kick, have you watched the movie Gladiator?
Yeah.
I fucking knew it.
And also Troy.
Oh my God.
But bro, it's not that. It's not that.
Oh
It's not that. It's a natural place to come back to because it's like
no,
this is a big part of fucking history. Like,
I no.
but
So what came first? The chicken or the egg?
the
With
chicken
in terms of the Gladiator movie.
Oh no, it was before. No. I bought this like a year ago. But the thing is, I didn't buy it because
Right,
of.
but you're on a kick right now, or have been.
No,
or
no,
were.
no, no. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I understand what you're saying, but it's not really a kick.
Yeah, but you started. You had this fucking hiatus,
Well,
and
no,
it's
no,
like
but
this
but
would be
I'm
really
saying,
interesting.
no,
This
but
would be really interesting.
actually,
So,
dude.
what
No,
triggered?
I
What triggered?
Yeah. Let me download you on this. It wasn't really a phase of the Roman thing per se because that always kind of like the Roman thing is like technically speaking, it's so like all of
Yeah,
our
I'm listening to you justify yourself. Go ahead.
no, but all of our institutions are influenced by Roman institutions and Roman
Right.
institutions by Greek institutions and all that. Like,
Right.
so it's all actually important if you want to understand. Like if you just go to Washington D.C. and you're like, why do the buildings look the way they do? Like then you need to know
It's
that.
not my question.
No, but I'm saying like it always comes up. Like it's a part of just the milieu of like what we're in. I happen to be on a forum. I think it was a Quora forum, and I can't remember the exact question, but somebody was talking about something, and they brought up Tacitus and this text that he wrote called basically Germany, and here's what I didn't know. I didn't realize that at this time in history that like when Germany, like basically what they called Germany was all of Europe that was north of like Italy, right?
Even I knew that.
I know.
Come on now.
But here's the
No,
thing.
I'm kidding. I didn't. I feel
But
like I
here's-
did though.
I know,
I
but
feel
we
like
probably
you've
did,
already said this.
but we didn't spend enough time on this, like in school and stuff. But the thing is that everything north of Italy was Germany, and Tacitus, he wrote one of the only things that we have that actually describes how the Germans were. And when he says Germans, a lot of it actually is probably
They were
all-
dirty Jew killers.
No. But here's the thing: when he says Germans, he's referring to like proto. Like there was no nation.
I know. I was being stupid.
No, I'm saying, but it was only tribes. So like literally
Right.
we're talking about like and the thing is like you and me
Yeah,
and, like,
Germanic tribes. That is
Yeah.
a term that is
you and me and a lot of
extremely-
people we know probably
Yeah.
descend in large part from these Germanic tribes, okay? As
Right.
Rome put it, Germanic tribes. And when you read the thing, I even read it to Spressa, because like somebody in a forum said, yeah, Tacitus writes about Germany and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Who the fuck is Germanicus, bro?
No, Germanicus is the guy that was like he was like almost like the adopted son of the second emperor of Rome, Tiberius. That's what Tacitus tells us. that but anyway, the point is what I want to say is like Tacitus, Germany writing. Like, you're
Bro,
gonna
watch
find this,
Gladiator already. I fucking knew you fucking watched it.
the
I
Germany is
and Troy. He had to throw that in there. Those are good movies though.
all right, all right, all right,
Did
all
you
right.
watch Gladiator 2?
Yeah, I thought it sucked. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible. But
I wouldn't
okay,
say
okay.
horrible. It just wasn't near as good as the first one.
I'm
We
gonna
knew that
read.
before it even came out.
I'm gonna read you some shit, and I want to see where your brain goes with this. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, he was born in 54 A.D. and died after in 117 A.D. So I added some years. This was probably between 50 and 100 AD. So we're talking 50 or 100 years after Jesus lived, okay? Right?
Right.
So I'm going to read a little bit and tell me what you think here. The Germans, I am apt to believe, derive their original from no other people and are nowise mixed with different nations arriving amongst them, since anciently those who went in search of new dwellings traveled not by land, but were carried in fleets, and into that mighty ocean so boundless, and, as I may call it, so repugnant and forbidding, ships from our world rarely enter. Moreover, besides the dangers from a sea tempestuous, horrid, and unknown, who would relinquish Asia or Africa or Italy to repair to Germany, a region hideous and rude under a rigorous climate, dismal to behold or to cultivate, unless the same were his native country? In their old ballads, which amongst them are the only sort of registers in history, they celebrate Tuisto, a god sprung from the earth, and Manus, his son, as the fathers and founders of the nation. To Manus they assign 3 sons, after whose names so many people are called: the Ingavons, the Marsians, Gambrians, Suevians, and Vandalians, and that these are the names truly genuine and original. For the rest, they affirm Germany to be a recent world, lately bestowed, for that those who first passed the Rhine and expulsed the Gauls and are now named Tungrians were then called Germans, and thus by degrees the name of a tribe prevailed, not that of the nation, so that by an appellation at first occasioned by terror and conquest, they afterwards chose to be distinguished, and assuming a name lately invented, were universally called Germans. They have a tradition that Hercules also.
Okay, it sounds to me you can replace all the fucking Tungarians and Valandians and
Bro,
Smithsonians
this is the actual
with
historian,
no,
though.
I get it, but so basically you're reading exactly how society is today, but because when you hear all these different empire or these different tribe names or these different names that the Germans eventually became to be known as, like, so they derived from all these other whatever those were, tribes or colonies, or I don't know what they're.
Yeah, tribes.
So, and which
basically, yeah.
eventually became what Germans are. So,
Well,
but
and not
my
just
thought,
Germans though, but like
my
most of
thought
Europe.
process
Most of
behind
Europe.
all that, though, think about what you just said, though. They have all these different whatever, and they're the Germans. Okay, so now probably everybody who's white in the U.S. and in many different areas probably have some sort of German in them, even if it's a little bit, like 0.1%. Yeah, if you're white, you probably have German in you. Maybe not always the case if you're, like white and whatever, but like if you're in the U.S. and you're white, you probably have German. Anyways,
But again, when you say we have German in us, you're using a modern lens of
yep,
the
but
nationhood of Germany. Whereas
yeah,
these tribes, like this
yep,
was at a
but
time that was
here's
so
here's
early.
the thing, though.
Some of these tribes
It
went to
reminds me
Britain
of
and everything.
just replace all these tribe names with all of the most powerful people in the
Yeah,
world right now,
yeah, yeah,
like the Rothschilds. when you
Exactly.
think of that.
Exactly. No, you're
Like,
thinking in the right. Yes, yes, exactly. Like that's a great way of framing it. But I want to give you a few things here that like I just wanted to set that up so that you understand how he talks, but there's a few things that are like now you know who he is, when he is, okay? And there's some stuff that I thought you would find really interesting. There was a few
I
things
could
that I was like,
barely follow that. My critical thinking and reading comprehension.
no, but the rest
Holy
is going
fuck.
to be easy. No, the rest is going to be
Okay.
easy. That's the thing. That was his like sort of like but he becomes actually the one of the most. That's what I love about him. He's one of the most easy to understand historians that you can read, though, because
Yeah, but
he's actually straight
so
to the point.
much, such a fucking eloquent way to write, though. Have you seen how destroyed writing is now? The language we have now
Well,
is
that's
so
true. That's
archaic.
true.
It's
That's
so
true.
archaic compared to what it used to be. Listen to how that was written, how he wrote. It was so eloquent. It was so fucking. It's just classic. Like it is. It's just like it
Well,
is
again,
almost
this is a
pleasing to hear.
translation from the original Latin, of course, but
Right, but
it's as
it's
good
so
as it can
pleasing
be.
to hear something
Yeah,
like that. Like
yeah.
it just gives you an idea of how intelligent those more ancient
I
civilizations or the
agreed. I agreed. And
were.
also the writers, I mean, think about it. They didn't have any distractions like, oh, sitting gaming
No,
or on
and
their
I mean,
phone or
look at the
whatever.
writers nowadays. Everything's modern, and yeah, you have good writers that do this and that. I don't read a lot, but nobody talks, nobody writes like that anymore. And the way things were written back then is so like it's almost like it's an really an art
I
that
agree.
you it's like a beautiful art. And
I
it
agree.
just the way they write, you can just like see how intelligent the writers were and where they're coming from. And just from him writing, you can already tell that he's like a neutral party, just living his life and experiencing everything that's going on, around him.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really
That's
cool.
a good point. But he's also what's interesting is when he describes the Germans, he doesn't take sort of the Roman side. So he kind of really tries to be like give them their credit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they were bitter enemies. I mean, like the tribes of Germany were bitter. I mean, that was like that was this went on for hundreds of years, basically, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, and that's also the thing about
Which
like,
eventually just became fucking Germany.
yeah, exactly. But,
Wild.
but
How
there's some weird stuff like that. I think like when I read this, it changed my perspective of like women also. Like we have to get back to like you have to study history to understand like how men and women have traditionally interacted. And one of the things that I thought was so interesting, and I really want to read this to you, because
Yep.
like I said this to Shpresta, and she was like, I mean, we actually like when I told her, not to be corny, but we both almost cried because it was such a beautiful thing, and I didn't realize that like till I said it to her, which is kind of a weird.
Okay, well now, okay, you got me convinced. Fucking read it because
All
I'm
right,
very curious now.
okay,
If
here we
I'm
go. Here we go. I'm gonna lead
okay,
into it a little bit
okay,
because he does it that way, and you have to understand like the like where you're getting to, right?
yep.
All right. They choose their kings for their noble birth, their commanders for their valor. The power even of kings is not absolute or arbitrary. The commanders rely on example rather than on the authority of their rank, on the admiration they win by showing conspicuous energy and courage, and by pressing forward in front of their troops. Capital punishment, imprisonment, even flogging are allowed to none but the priests, and are not inflicted merely as punishments or on the commander's orders, but as it were in obedience to the God whom the Germans believe to be present on the field of battle. You following?
Yeah.
This is much easier to follow, right?
Yeah.
It feels a
A
little
little
bit
bit.
like imagine if you were reading Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And I realized that a lot of shit from Tacitus was actually borrowed by J.R.R. Tolkien because you can actually like I can show you some stuff in this very text. He talks about this like battlefield where they were fighting in
Cool.
a bog, and basically like the bodies ended up in the bog, and then they went back there, and there were
Cool.
perfectly well preserved bodies in the bog. Yeah,
We we got to get to the lady part here.
All right.
Bro's talking about Tacitus and goes into Lord of the Rings. Dude, you are
They act okay, so here we go. I'm gonna continue where I left off because I told you I was at the very beginning of this. Capital punishment, imprisonment, even flogging are allowed to none but the priests, and are not inflicted merely as punishments or on the commander's orders, but as it were in obedience to the God whom the Germans believed to be present on the field of battle. They actually carry with them into the fight certain figures and emblems taken from their sacred groves. Especially powerful incitement to valor is that the squadrons and divisions are not made up at random by the mustering of chance comers, but are each composed of men of one family or clan. Now here we go. Close by them too are their nearest and dearest, so that they can hear the shrieks of their womenfolk and the wailing of their children. These are the witnesses whom each man reverences most highly, whose praise he most desires. It is to their mothers and wives that they go to have their wounds treated, and the women are not afraid to count and compare the wounds. They also carry supplies of food to the combatants and encourage them. It stands on record that armies already wavering and on the point of collapse have been rallied by the women, pleading heroically with their men, thrusting forward their bared bosoms, and making them realize the imminent prospect of their enslavement, a fate which which the Germans fear more desperately for their women than for themselves. Indeed, you can secure a surer hold on these nations if you compel them to include among a consignment of hostages some girls of noble family. More than this, they believe that there resides in women an element of holiness and a gift of prophecy, and so they do not scorn to ask their advice or lightly disregard their replies. In the reign of Emperor Vespasian, we saw Velda long honored by many Germans as a divinity, and even earlier they showed a similar reverence for Arunia and a number of others, a reverence untainted by servile flattery or any pretense of turning women into goddesses.
holy shit.
Does that not change?
That's intense.
Yes, thank you.
They're
And we never hear about this. How
their
crazy is
women
that?
were like they're fucking like they're everything.
Yes.
Everything they
And
did
they
was
brought them with, dude. Imagine that they were on battle with the Romans, and they brought the women so that they would be crying like, ah, like in the woods.
give them the fucking the motivation.
Yes.
The fucking to make
Have
them
you
not
ever seen a movie made about this?
So they didn't forget the fucking what they were fighting for.
Exactly. Exactly.
But also, you have to think about the women followed those men into battle. And the men battled for them, for their women, for their children, for their families. And it didn't matter if it was a wife or a mother. Like that was the respect that they each had for one another. And the man goes out,
We don't hopefully have to do that so much.
and he's defending that woman, and he gets injured. Them women got all those dudes backs, and they're treating their wounds when they're coming back from battle, and they're
Yes.
It's crazy, dude. The
Thank you
respect
for getting
between
it.
the
Thank you for
respect
getting it.
between the male and female is a completely different
It's not what you've been
like,
told. It's not what you've been told was the way it was.
you know what movie though? You know what movie showed the slight of this a little bit? You remember you watched the movie 300, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember when fucking the Persian came, the Persian messenger came to the city, and then he's like, you threatened me with this and that, and then he turns around and he looks up at his wife, and she gives the nod, and he's like,
yeah.
And then he turns back around again and fucking kicks him into that fucking endless pit or whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
that's a fucking like that was a good example of what you just described as like
Yeah,
how the men, you know, that's what they were fighting, that's what they were
exactly,
fighting
exactly.
for.
And then now here's where things
And
become tricky because it's like that's what men were fighting for, and they respected the Germans at least. And I say Germans loosely here because we're not talking about nationally, but these tribes of people in Germania, as the Romans called it,
right.
their general precept was that women are to be respected and honored. Now, did that mean that women were there when they passed the rules and shit? Now, again, now there's a lot of people that go really extreme on this whole thing. Like, weirdly enough, like the idea of like women voting is now being discussed by like the younger generations because they're going through this whole process of trying to understand this stuff, and like that's kind of retarded. But
Yeah.
but to be clear, to be fair, like the idea historically was not that people were keeping women from voting. It was just that everybody agreed and understood that politics was not a woman's thing. Like, and
Yeah.
that's what we have to understand is like why this is like an interesting debate is because our modern conception is that we've all been fed this thing of like men have been keeping women from voting, and then suddenly when women could vote, suddenly it was like, yeah, but it was like, how did this happen? It happened because it was decided by men and women. It was more like let's say you and me want to go gaming or like go kick a football or something, right? Like go play football. And it's like the women automatically they're like, no, I'm not interested. And that's I think how politics developed. I think it was a man's activity. I think it was like something that men just did like when we get together we start talking about shit like it kind of doesn't make sense that things are this way and the women oftentimes were like taking care of the domestic stuff and then we were like while we're
Yeah.
working or
It
while we're doing
wasn't it
whatever
wasn't an interest. It
it
wasn't a
wasn't an interest.
hobby of theirs. That would be that was something that developed as an interest, a common interest among men, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm
And then
saying
the
like I
women
think
stayed
that's
home
something.
because they're like, you go do your golfing, you do your thing, you
Yeah,
do
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. It's the same
Yeah.
same thing we see now, except this
Yep.
was like on a fundamental like law making level and all
Right.
that stuff.
Yep.
And I think that's what it actually was. And then the fact is that obviously as society continued to develop, and by the time that we get stuff from Greece or Rome, society is already extremely developed because otherwise we wouldn't even have those writings, right? Like so. But
Right.
but by the time we get that, like we get plays from or what the fuck was his name? I can't remember his name exactly, but he was at the exact same time as Socrates, and he used to criticize Socrates and stuff. Like that's one of the other sources we have about Socrates' existence. Aristophanes. So Aristophanes, like he was a playwright, and one of his plays was actually about like all of a sudden like the women they put on men's clothing and one morning when the parliament like when the assembly isn't supposed to meet they take over all the men's roles and then they take over the lawmaking and I swear to god dude everything he describes is basically communism. So so in other words they knew that like when women make political decisions they it's the same thing like free stuff for everybody like everything and I was like oh my god this is why women weren't allowed to vote. Holy fucking they just thought it was funny because they were like obviously that's what they're gonna do and that's not reasonable, that's not realistic, like it's not gonna work and we this whole development that's been going on they don't really understand it and they're just gonna try to do this stuff and it's like oh my God. Like, so, okay, so Aristophanes play about women. Aristophanes. He wrote several plays focusing on women, most notably Lysistrata, where women stage a sex strike to end the Peloponnesian War. Other key plays include Assemblywoman, 391 BCE. This is a Greek. This is before the Roman Empire.
Whoa.
This is before the Roman Republic. English,
BCE, isn't that before Christ?
yes. That's what I'm telling you, dude. This is why when you
Jesus
understand
Christ.
history, you're like, fuck, bro. Like this, we've just been playing this game for a long time. Now, okay, hold on. Here we go. This is the AI overview if you want it. Here we go. Assembly. This is literally from Google.
Yeah, but the women don't
But
think
listen,
like
listen,
this
listen.
nowadays, though.
But
They
listen,
think they're
listen.
so
But,
oppressed.
but I'm saying this is 391 BC, bro. Now your
Okay.
brain, like, don't fucking forget the weight of that. Imagine this is 300 years before Jesus. This is well before Rome was the dominant power. This was the period of Greek
Greek.
hegemony,
Yeah.
or no hegemony. So here we go. Assemblywoman is a comedy by Aristophanes, 391 BCE, where Athenian women led by Praxagora disguised themselves as men to take over the government and institute a radical communal society. Alternative English titles include Women in Parliament, Congresswomen, Women in Power, and Women in Council. I know you're almost cry laughing because it's like, no, are we really doing this? Are we still doing this? All right. Here we go. Key aspects of the play. Plot. Women disguise themselves in their husbands' clothes, armed with fake beards, to sneak into the assembly, take control, and replace male rule, arguing they can manage Athens better. They introduce a
Oh my God.
they
We've been
introduce
doing this for 2000 and fucking 26 years, bro.
They introduce a utopian communist system where all property and sexual partners are shared to ensure equality, including a comedic rule forcing men to satisfy ugly women instead of beautiful ones.
What the fuck?
Which is like what, body positivity? Isn't that body positivity, bro? It's a feminine.
That is
fucking-
like the ancient version of body positivity.
Yeah, because they're like, yeah, but of course, ugly women as well, because every woman thinks she might be on that scale of ugly. It's just like, hold on. Here we go. Tone, a satirical, farcical, and risque comedy that critiques Athenian gender roles. Oh, come on. Political turmoil and likely references philosophical ideas from Plato's Republic. Okay, so they're trying to make it seem like it's a critique of gender roles when it's actually a very conservative fucking.
We don't have a critique of gender roles anymore, bro. A man is a
No.
woman and a woman is a man. It don't matter nowadays.
Yes, exactly.
You know what? Some days I feel like a woman and I identify as a woman. I go into the woman's bathroom and I take a piss. And
You
no,
expect to say.
the crazy thing is, if somebody has something against it, they're in the wrong.
I agree with that. Believe it or not,
You
I
know?
agree with that, but I don't think that touches the general principle of like, hey, I don't want biological men in the bathroom.
Exactly.
As a
But
rule.
that's the problem with the leftist woke thought of thinking.
I know.
They don't want equality for women. They want a man who thinks he's a woman to be able to go into the bathroom and take a piss with your 6-year-old daughter, and that's okay.
Yep.
That's what they want.
Unfortunately, yes, but there doesn't seem to be.
Blatantly speaking,
They haven't
like,
made
if you're
the
being blunt,
No, but I'm saying like they haven't
Blunt.
made the connection that there's a extreme hypocrisy involved here. You know.
it's just
I mean, unfortunately, there's an extreme hypocrisy in the whole thing. But I think it's coming to light now. I just literally saw. I mean, like I think that ship.
the
is-
only reason any of that has come to light is because so many people and people in power are like that have half a brain at the very, and I'll are like, no, that's not okay. Like
Right,
men
right.
shouldn't be in women's sports. Like men shouldn't be like I don't care how you feel, bro. That is a medical condition. And the fact that I'm supposed to cater to you and think that if I grew up feeling like I was a woman, that is a mental illness. Like I have a penis and I feel like a woman. That is a mental illness, regardless of how you want to label it. Like
I
that,
mean,
there's something wrong in your brain. Like you have brain chemicals that aren't working right. Get on some medication, or I don't know. Well, they do. They get on fucking hormone fucking whatever, and they feel more like a woman. But I can't wrap my head around that, and I nobody will ever be able to convince me. And it's not even about belief. It's not about it. That doesn't boil down to religion. That doesn't boil down to fucking anything besides fucking common sense. If I was born with a penis and I came to you one day and I said, Cole, you know what? I'm going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to go against everything I said. And I told you I understand where they're coming from now because I'm starting to feel like maybe I am a woman trapped in a man's body. You would tell me that I'm fucking nuts.
yeah.
You would say, dude, you need to go to like a therapy. You need to go
Yep.
y-
Yep.
like you need to like rethink what's going on because that's honestly what's going on in their brains. Like
No, I agree.
they don't realize the illness that they have. It's to me it's a literal illness. Like it's no different to me somebody feeling that way to somebody who has alcoholism. Like
No,
it's a
yeah,
disease.
yeah,
It's a fucking disease.
totally.
And I don't have anything against fucking people that are gay and I don't have anything against people that are trans. Like
No,
you do
no,
you
that's
and you have
exactly right.
there might be something wrong with you, but the problem I have with it is the agenda that gets pushed. And then you
But
feel
the thing
like
is, but that's the thing is the agenda is being pushed by people that are not trans. That's where you have to focus your attention.
and that's a bigger problem
But I'm
because
saying,
those are the
no,
people.
but listen. I'm not saying
That's
that
a whole
trans.
nother beast, dude.
No, but I'm not saying, like, just to be clear, I'm not saying that trans people don't push an agenda, but they're jumping onto an agenda that's being pushed from a total, like, it's being made to be like a
Well, right, but
normative cultural.
it's being made, and they're trying to make it a cultural norm.
Yeah,
They're
and it
trying to
ain't
make it.
working. It's not
They're
working.
turning it. They're almost trying to turn it into a fucking race issue at this point. Is that
Of course they
you're
are.
trans and you should be respected, and you should feel sorry for me because this is how I feel and I can't help it. No, you can definitely fucking help it, but like you have to have the intellectual ability to realize that you are wrong, and that is where most people have an issue
Yeah,
is admitting that they're wrong.
but think about it this way, like just psychologically, like just from a first POV, like point of view, right?
No, yeah,
I'm saying like every single person, part of human existence is to look at the situation you're in as a consciousness and go, this is the situation. Like I am a physical, like it's not that you can't feel like something that you're not experiencing. Like in other words, you can't know what it's like to be a woman if you're born a biological male. Like, so
right.
therefore, the idea that you have some thing to judge that against means that all you're judging it against is some kind of an outside perception of what you think it means to be
What
female.
boggles my mind is the
Do you
hypocrisy
understand
that
what I'm
goes
saying?
on. Is the hypocrisy that goes on between like the women. The women want to have equal rights. The women want this and the women want that. But they sure as hell don't care about a man wanting to be a woman. They sure as hell don't care about the fact that they're a man. They'll never understand what it's like being a woman, and we never will. And you never will, even if you feel like you feel like you
Yeah,
should be a
what
woman.
happened to that? It all, sometimes I like when I'm thinking about it and I'm have the frog face, you know what I mean, like on my consciousness, like the Pepe the Frog, like
Yep.
when you're sort of in that troll mode. It's
Yeah.
like the silliness of this is exactly what you said. It's like, what if actually what's going on here, like now taking their point of view a little bit, what if it's actually like this whole thing is just a subversion? Like, if they really truly believe that men are oppressive in the patriarchy, then why wouldn't you view trans like women as men who are just trying to enter, like basically like trying to reassert their dominance? In a sense, it's like
Right.
Yeah, because that's what you're doing. You're like saying like, "Oh, now I'm a woman." Like you have to call me that. So it's basically, and then they're like, "Yes, sir. Yes. Oh, I mean, yes, ma'am." It's like basically they're giving in to a male's demand to be treated as a fucking woman, which is not reasonable. And they're like subservient to that. So basically they're becoming submissive to the male energy of wanting to be in their spaces, wanting to be in their locker rooms, wanting to be in their sports. And in some sense, I'm like, oh my God, is this like the ultra chads basically like saying fuck you and just basically being like,
It's the fucking Matrix, bro. Or maybe even better described, it's the fucking Twilight Zone, bro.
it is the Twilight Zone.
It's fucking weird and it doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't make any sense to you or I or anybody
I bet it doesn't make any
who
sense
doesn't
to
have the
mom.
mental illness.
Yeah, exactly.
It is literally it 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 is literally a mental illness, and that is not trying to be any sort of
Oh,
like
Clinton, are you transphobic?
right, exactly.
No,
It's
no, but hold on. Are you claustrophobic?
I am actually.
Okay. Does that compare in any way to how you feel about trans people?
No.
So
And that's
are you transphobic?
exactly. Never.
No. Am
It,
I
it
transphobic? No. Do I care if somebody shows up at my house? Like, dude, if somebody shows up at my house as a guest and they act like a woman, but I can clearly see they're a man, out of politeness, I will do whatever, like what I would do with any guest. Like you tell me I mean, like if they say like, "Hi, I'm Cheryl," and I know that they're trying to be a woman or whatever, like they're putting on an act essentially.
right.
I'll play along.
Now that somebody's describing themselves that way and you clearly see that they're not that way, you've become submissive to the whole fucking problem that is
Well, yeah, but
the
what I'm saying is that,
transphobic fucking culture.
no, but what I'm saying is that I accept the fact that
Right. You can
because no,
accept
but
it.
no, hold on. Hold on. I
No,
accept the
I
fact.
no, you know what? You're right. Like I get it because like I've seen them and
No,
I
no, no, no,
don't
no, no,
fucking
but you
sit there
listen.
and say
No, no,
anything
no,
and
but
bash them.
you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I accept. I'm not saying anything about trans ideology. I'm saying I accept as a
No, I
general
know that.
principle. I accept as a general principle, like if you're a principled person, like there's no conflict between how I would treat a trans person versus any other guest in my house.
Right.
Which is,
Exactly.
in other words, I hold as a principle like how you treat guests.
Right. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
And
And
and,
what I'm
and
saying, but here's what
your
I have a problem
example
with.
though,
But here's what I have a
your
problem with.
example
That
though,
person,
you,
hold on, that person leaves, and then I have some like hardcore liberal people with me, and I refer to that person as the wrong gender, which is actually the gender I perceive that we all
oh God, you're
know.
gonna get destroyed.
No, but that we all know. And then all of a sudden it's like, why are you misgendering that person? And I'm like, well,
Oh,
no.
good Lord.
I'm describing the world as I see it. Like I'm polite to that person when they're here, and it's not about me
And
being two
yeah,
faced.
yeah,
It's
but
about
that's
the
the
fact that
problem with the world. That's how they fucking think now. It's like if you're with all these liberal people who have this belief and believe that those people should, why are you misgendering? It's like, who's misgendering? The only person that's misgendering is themselves. Like
yeah,
they're the
yeah,
ones misgendering themselves. I'm sorry to say, like
and like
you
and
know, you
like
know what I mean?
and the thing is, I
But
have compassion for that in the same way that I would have compassion for somebody who's schizophrenic. And now, obviously,
right,
that's an extreme example, but it goes back to what you said about the mental
but
illness thing.
but it
It's
but
like
it but it's
having a
not though
mental
when you
illness, but having a mental illness doesn't make you a bad person either. You know what I mean?
no.
So my point is like, it's not transphobia, it's not trans hate, it's more actually compassion. It's like I know that it's a mental disorder, so I will play along like because I don't want every interaction like even though had hardly any, but if I have an
Yeah,
interaction with somebody who's dressing up, actually I did when I worked at Acne Studios, like in the clothing department. Like there was this one trans person who was like a regular, and it was obviously like a guy dressed up like a female, and and
right.
and everybody referred to this person as a she or whatever, and I just couldn't do it. Like when we would talk amongst ourselves, like obviously when he came in, I would be like the most polite person in the world, and I don't want to treat
Yeah.
him badly. Like I'm gonna treat, he's a human being, and like I don't want him to suffer and all this kind of stuff. Like, but when he leaves and we talk about this guy like as a client, like man, like they would say to me like, oh God, she's so demanding, and I'm always like, yeah, yeah. I mean, he is kind of whatever. And it's like, the thing is, to me, I'm not trying to make a point. I'm saying like, I literally can't force myself to lie. I can't force myself to say she when I'm looking at a guy in women's clothing. Like like I just don't understand I don't understand the mindset. Like I can't do it. I
Yeah, I
just
can't, and
do
I
it.
can't. But I still want to say this, and your description from claustrophobic to transphobic, I am a little bit claustrophobic. That is
Me too.
something
Me too.
and not to like in an extreme sense, but like, yeah, small spaces and shit, I couldn't do that. Like, I would feel fucking uncomfortable. I would get a sense of fucking like I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's why, and then people say transphobic. There's not a single person out there who, as soon as somebody enters the room, they're like, "Oh God, I got to get out of here." They get that uncomfortable feeling that
I'm
rises from their
scared. I'm scared.
stomach into their chest, and they can't breathe, and they feel panicky. Nobody gets like that
No.
around a trans person, but people want to label it as, "Oh, you're transphobic." It's like, no, I'm sorry, you obviously have no idea what the fuck having a phobia actually is.
No, exactly,
Because
exactly, exactly, and that's my
if you
point.
have
And
a
I'm like,
phobia, ain't nobody. And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe there is somebody out there who probably does have that. It doesn't surprise me. I
no,
mean,
sure, sure,
go to
but then
TLC
that
and watch
person
my
themselves.
go to TLC and watch My Strange Addiction,
No,
right?
but
It ain't
exactly, exactly. But that person who's like actually transphobic in the sense that somebody could be arachnophobic, like spiders,
right.
but like that person, then I would also have the same feeling. I'd be like, okay, like if that guy was hanging out with us, I'd be like, bro, you should also probably get some help because if you're actually afraid of trans people, like that's also a little bit weird. I mean,
Right.
it's not,
Well, yeah, that
like.
would be weird.
That
Like,
would be weird. That's why it's
like
not
that would be
about
more weird than
phobia.
being like, oh, if you had if you had two friends and one had arachnophobia, you had three friends, one had arachnophobia, one had claustrophobia, and then one had transphobia. Automatically going to be like, dude, you're a little weird for the dude who actually has literal transphobia. Like that would be weird
Yeah,
compared to the other
exactly,
two, because the other
exactly,
two make sense, and that's what it
exactly,
boils down to.
exactly. Like it wouldn't be rational to have transphobia. It would be like, bro,
Right.
it can't hurt you. It's okay. Like you're gonna be all right. Like it's fine. Like you don't like it, but that doesn't, or do you? I don't know. Maybe you like it, but you're still afraid of it because actually transphobia doesn't imply that you don't like it. It could be like I support it, but I'm afraid of it. So then you're transphobic,
Yeah. So if
right?
you're transphobic, you can be as transphobic as you want. It doesn't mean you don't necessarily agree with it. It just means that you're literally fucking scared by it, and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Okay. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, but that being said, man, I guess we're gonna have to get to the aliens in the next conversation.
yeah, evidently.
But we should wrap it up, right? Yeah, let's wrap it up. It's
Yeah, we can wrap
two
it up.
two
I'm good
twenty
with
three
that.
my time.
We've been
Um,
on, yeah, how long has it been now? How many fucking, like, it's been what, 3 hours? 2 hours? 2.5 hours?
yeah, probably pretty close.
It's a long
Um,
one.
it's been a long one. It's been a long one, and I like the fact that I haven't revealed where I'm at because now this can become like a little set where it
Yeah, you
becomes a
still haven't
mystery.
revealed, and it's really quite bugging the fuck out of me because I like how I said, "Oh, dude," because I thought you were gonna come back and then surprise me, like, "Yeah, I'm here," and you didn't, and I'm still wondering because
Let
it
me
it
ask you
looks
this.
it looks very studio, like vacation, like Hollywood, like I don't know. It doesn't look like a household where you're chilling, like you're in a space that you're not typically at.
Interesting. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you want me to be conservative on the editing process? Like if we go on the trust system, What would you be most comfortable with? I err on the side of caution for anything that you've said that is like controversial.
Well, I already
I'd
know
say-
that you're gonna try and edit out anything that you think I would, or you think anybody would take way too personal from what I said. But as on the Billy side of things, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Just blank his name out, obviously. But no, I don't. There's nothing I haven't said that I would be like, oh yeah, bro, you probably shouldn't post that because
All
like
right.
this. I don't know. This whole conversation should probably not even rear its face.
Yeah, maybe in some ways, but then I
Like
think
towards
like
the end.
the things
And
that
I'm just thinking from your terms and your channel, not
no, I know,
necessarily.
I agree, but then I also think like, man, like if all we're doing is speaking rationally, like I don't think either of us has said anything hateful.
No, no.
And the question is,
Honestly,
'cause I actually don't have any hatred really toward anybody. I mean, like if I had, even if I could devise some hatred, it would probably be toward some. I don't even think
like
like if I
having
thought of a
hatred, and
childhood bully.
having hatred is such a strong word towards anything.
I
Like
agree, but
I
that's where
think it's
we're at.
okay to dislike something and not agree with it, but having hatred towards something is also a mental illness, I think, in itself. So
I agree, especially at a certain point in life. It's like
yeah,
okay, you have hatred toward this thing, but you're like 35 years old, and like, how is it affecting you? Like, is this thing in, I like that thing in the zeitgeist where it's like, is Donald Trump in the room with you right now? It's like, because people talk
That-
about these
that-
things like they're a boogeyman, like
that bro lives on everybody's mind. Like they go to sleep at night and they wake up and they just hate their life because of it. And it's like, how can you be so you must have a really miserable life to have to just like how many how many, like, we've had so many different presidents, so many different people in power. There's so many other people you could hate more than the president of your country. And I don't know, it's
I agree.
like people say, it's like TDS. It really is like a sort of illness with some people, because it's like I can't wrap my head around, like, yeah, there's been
We already
presidents,
said that we
there's
don't
been
agree with everything the guy says or does or anything like.
right.
Like, actually, I don't even like. If I broke it
Like
down, maybe I would say half. I don't know, half.
Like when Obama was in office, or say Kamala got in office, or say Hillary got in office instead of Trump, and they won the election. It's like, okay, but I'm not going to sit there and hate my life and live every day of my life like just being miserable because I don't like the person. Like, it ain't worth my fucking time and energy.
No, I
Who
agree.
you got over there right now? Is that Spressa? Spressa?
Yeah, it is.
What's up? Are you enjoying the lake view there in the cold back?
No, but actually, I told him already that we were on a moon base, and he doesn't. I don't know if he fully believes me or not, but
I'm still trying to. He hasn't disclosed to me the location, so I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
What? You told him? I thought
no, but
this
he
was a
guessed.
secret.
He guessed already.
Okay, this is fucked up. I honestly,
You're on the. I already know you're on the USS Musk, and your fucking space station.
okay.
Fucking. I know you guys got Elon there. You're on the fucking. You got a Tesla house.
Espresso finally came out as a CIA agent.
Holy shit,
I mean,
dude! That
come
changes
on.
everything.
I know.
Bro, if she's CIA agent, if she's CIA, then she's got to get some. You've got to have some info on Caleb Brown, then.
Of course. Yes, I do.
Come tell.
No, I just.
I want to hear this Caleb Brown information.
Okay.
I can see you there. You can see the projection. You can stand there and give your speech overlaid here.
Yes, let's do it over Lake Titicaca.
I'm bats in my pants because I ate so many cookies. I'm just getting fat. No.
No. Come on.
Oh my God.
Come on now. We just.
True.
By the way, I read him Tacitus on Germany and Germans, and I said how we teared up when we heard about the women bearing their breasts and being like.
We were really crying.
That's crazy. You know how much more I would fight if a chick was like, "Hey, baby, let me show you your tits." I'd be like, "Oh fuck yeah, let's go. This motherfucker's dying tonight."
I would do that if Cole showed me his balls. I'd be like, "Oh my god, I got this. I got this gay shit." I have to.
What the fuck just happened? Oh, that's classic.
Oh shit!
I don't know if I've ever known any woman who would have the audacity to say something like that. Like, I wish I had a woman who'd be like, "Baby, show me your balls. I will fight so hard for you." I'd be like, "I guess if you want. I just fucking balls. I don't know."
But I mean, well, how are tits any? I mean, tits are actually
Gorgeous.
no, but slightly less valuable than balls because balls are creating new life in the fucking.
Yeah, but the tits give life to the new life.
And the
Kind of.
and the balls give life.
Like, you don't have. I mean, you don't have to have. You don't have to have tits to
No.
like give life. Like, you could chop your tits off and you can just use formula, but you do have to have a vag to give life.
Yeah.
So that's
But
different.
Not in nature. Not in nature. You have to think about nature. Remember evolutionary psychology.
That's a good point. But actually, then, if there's other women that have had offspring, they can feed them. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, tribes.
What?
Tribes often share.
Why are you peeing there? What is this that you're living in?
I swear to God,
The moon base.
Cole,
Oh my God, he's on the fucking moon.
Cole, now you're really giving it up. Like, fuck. No, I'm actually.
No, he's not.
He's giving.
This was your idea to just not disclose the location?
Oh my God, I'm so disappointed. I'm just gonna just.
I don't even.
Hey, I know that we promised Rodriguez that we weren't. gonna-
Rodriguez? What the fuck is Rodriguez?
General Rodriguez.
Oh yeah. He does.
I don't like this.
He
Like
goes
it one bit.
He goes under the name, not Rodriguez. You're revealing his name. Oh God, he really doesn't get this.
All right, Clinton, I'm going to send you a link and it's going to show you all the private jets in the air and it's going to let you know when the apocalypse is hitting. And I'm telling
Yes.
you, I'm not supposed to say this.
Wait, I don't have any fucking money to build a bunker.
You don't
Well,
have to, but at
we will
least
You got a
Fly-
bunker yet or what? I come to your bunker. I gotta fly
Of
there
course,
though.
we will get one of the jets. We'll send Rodriguez's son, Julio.
Who? What's his name? Koyo?
Julio.
That sounds like more of like a Koyo. Is it Korean or what?
No, actually, it's Coolio.
No, Julio.
The rapper from
Oh.
the 90s.
What?
Julio.
Is it? No.
Coolio's a rapper from the 90s, yeah. He was actually quite popular. I'm just kind of jealous that y'all are on a fucking moon base on the USS Musk in a Tesla-built fucking dwelling. That's
It is what it is.
crazy.
Cole had to
I
fuck.
like how Cole has now taken up the societal norm in Sweden of smoking a cigarette.
No, that's not normal here.
That is really not normal. It's horrible.
Actually, most people here.
You're smoking one too. What you mean?
I know, but I don't do it. But now that I smelled it everywhere in the moon thing, it spreads.
I don't do it, but I do.
Hey, can I borrow that? Cole, even though we have filters, no, the beer can. Even though we have filters in this bunker, it's still I could smell it.
You're in a okay. So I've got a little bit more information. Now you're in a bunker. It's interesting.
Oh, right now, yeah.
Yeah, but that's only we're just trying to like test it out and see if it actually works.
Nobody bled through to the other.
What if you're just like playing it off as a joke and you're actually in a bunker right now, like you built your own bunker? Because now I'm starting to feel like maybe it is an actual bunker. You got tin ceilings, glass windows,
Well, no, but that's the
projection
environment.
screen.
That's the environment we chose to replicate in the bunker situation.
What is
Since
this
we're-
link you sent me? Do you want me to view it now?
No, but that's something you should check out. Like I'm just saying.
I'll check it out. KyleMcDonald.com.
It's the early warning system. So in the event, this is what it says on the website. In the event of an imminent nuclear apocalypse, we suspect that many people who have access to private jets will immediately take to the skies and escape city centers. This site tracks this indicator in real time. The current emergency level is reported on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being an indicator of likely imminent apocalypse.
Oh shit. Where are we at right now?
They track the private jets of rich people to see like where they're going and when they're leaving, and then they.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so they say that currently we're at an emergency level of 1 of 5. So that's not too bad.
So we're fine.
Yeah.
I'm good for now. If I see a 4 or 5, I'm coming into your fucking bunker.
Yes.
Of course, of course.
So that's why we shared.
Do you know how much pasta that I have purchased recently?
Cole?
Bro, because I don't have a fucking bunker, bro.
Hey, are you gonna cut this part off though?
Yeah, but I can't let people know this.
But I mean, you have to cut it off.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously. I won't.
I like how you two are such a little couple of 2 peas in a pod over there. Aren't you? Must be nice. I'll figure it out. I'll do my own investigation. I'll find the right IP.
Wait until you show up in New York and we're not there, okay?
We will leave New York soon.
But I thought that we were going to stay here.
You cannot read too many BS if you're gonna reveal.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You don't
That's
reveal
true.
the freaking thing. Not yet. Not when we don't.
Oh,
need
yeah,
to.
you're right. You're right.
I want to know, why do you have this projection screen going on in the background with nothing playing on it besides a slideshow of random shit? You had jaguars, leopards, tropical rainforest,
I want humanity.
beaches.
I want people in the future to remember what we had there on Earth. And the thing is, like, I want to talk to people who are still there. And I think that's, I got a lot of resistance about this. They said, it's not allowed or whatever. I went to the executive governor and he said, it's fine. You can do it, but just don't reveal too much. And so far, I think that I've stuck to that. Okay, mostly stuck to that. Yeah, dude, but here's the thing. There is hope. If you're in the Midwest, there is actually some chance, especially in that region.
Bro, we're at a 1.
Yeah, I know. But you'll see when it escalates. And the thing
Why
is,
do you keep turning to her to see if it's okay to talk?
you mean Spressa?
Uh-huh.
No. She went in. She went inside.
Oh, okay. I think she's just standing there mysteriously.
No. I wish she was. But no.
I know you're right there, Spressa. You know you're standing there. Wait, what? Something's going on.
No.
Wink. Wink if you're in danger.
I just had to plug a little things.
I knew it!
No, I had to plug some things because of the smoke coming in.
I knew she was there.
I wasn't, because I was in an area.
If you weren't, then how did you know I was saying that you were?
Tell him what I was doing. I was plugging in something so the smoke wouldn't come into the main area.
She was in the restroom.
So you can't smoke in the main area. Something's going on here.
You can't smoke in the main area, and we cannot let smoke in, and the filters are not quick enough to filter it.
But is subject 1 and 2, are they disturbed?
No, because the filter, I upped it. My God. Of course.
Okay.
Subject.
And subject 7?
Subject 7 is a little bit pissed.
Okay. All right. Maybe she.
But actually,
No. But actually, this was.
But
I knew this was a risk
okay,
anyway.
I upped the filters. It's fine now.
Well,
Okay.
it's not a risk if I don't know, but I'm on to you.
I knew that this was a risk.
Yeah, but you're revealing too much, dude. So you have to shut the fuck up a little bit.
I didn't think that I was revealing anything really.
I don't know, but you.
But I did get that notice
Well,
on
in all honesty,
the light flash red, and
If
then
anybody I would dare to reveal to is actually Filter, I swear to God.
no, but same here. But then I was just
So-
hoping that maybe like give him a chance.
Yeah, but slow and steady. I'm gonna close this now because I don't want anything to come into the main area.
What the hell? Is there a virus
Huh?
outbreak?
That being said, is that a bad place to end the conversation?
Nope. It's an
Alright.
interesting place to end it, aside from your moon base.
Yeah, well, eventually I'll let you know about what's going on here. Assuming that, here's the thing. All I'm saying is that, first of all, do you have any backup power? Do you have any generators?
Somewhere, yeah.
Okay. Make sure you have some generators and some tanks of gas. Shouldn't last more than 3 days. Oh shit.
Yeah. Am I out of time?
Actually, starting Tuesday, 3 days from Tuesday.
But
3 days from
that's a
Tuesday.
that's quite a different timeline you got there.
Yeah, you have 24 hours. Stock up. Get some pasta. Be ready to hold out for 3 days.
Instant mac and cheese, probably.
Get some instant mac and cheese. Get you a couple of fleshlight.
Ramen.
Couple of
Oh
flesh.
fuck, flashlights. Yeah.
No.
I gave those all to Matt. I don't have any left.
I said the fleshlight thing. Why is that? A couple of fleshlights. I do take this seriously.
What the fuck?
I'm fucking with you, man. All right. Okay. I swear to God, I'm messing with you. Next time we chat, I'll let you know where I'm at.
Yeah, because you'll be somewhere that you can disclose, but I'll never know this location.
No, but this is not a it's not a secret location technically.
Hmm. It is an interesting location, nonetheless.
Yeah, agreed.
Want to know why there's a whole bunch of glass
They have
walls
books.
beside you?
They have books such as
That's the question.
Eastern Settlement.
Tin roof, glass walls that separates you between you and something. What? I don't know. The steel roofing.
Well, that being said, man, unfortunately I have to go.
Yep.
But keep me posted, and just remember 24 hours and 3 days generator, always good to have. And that link I sent you, take a look at that. And yeah.
All right. I will be in touch.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Thanks,
Love you,
buddy.
brother.
Hey, I love you too, man. And don't ever don't let the bastards get you down.
Well said.
And just remember, we may not be able to decide what happens, but we can decide how we respond to what happens. So, yeah. And just remember, like what I said before, the community is the most important thing. Get to know your neighbors, and remember that your neighbors are your backbone. If you need anything, your neighbors are your backbone. And
Got it.
and also, don't forget that the judges are Circumspect. Yep. I said it. Circumspect.
Is that like a circumcision or?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Billy might have said that. I did not say
Mm. I will keep that in mind.
Okay, all joking aside, next time we chat, we should talk about the UFO stuff.
From the sounds of it, there may not be a next time unless I get generators and something in 24 hours.
I'm just fucking with you.
But
man. But
I'll
actually,
make it.
it's always good to have generators, like whether electric, solar paneled, is probably good in case the fuel supply goes down. And but in general, it's good to have generators.
This is the longest goodbye I've ever had in my entire life.
All right, man. Signing
All
off.
right.
Signing
Take
off.
care, brother. Love you until we meet again. If we don't, I wish you the best on the moon.
And you know what? I miss you the best on earth, my man.